Welcome, everyone. I am Chris Gore. This is Film Threat, our live cast on a Friday. Today on the show, so many films to discuss. We're going to jump right into reviews. Alan Ing the Merciless, is now waiting in the wings. Today, we're going to talk about Wish. This is an early review of Disney's big animated feature. Does it soar or does it fail? Plus, Alan has seen The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Plus, Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, a film I forgot to put on the list, but people working behind the scenes right now are adding it. Thanksgiving I saw last night. One of these movies today is going to be the best movie among all these films, and one that I will recommend that you'll go see, but which one is it? Plus, Alan is talking about Girls on Film, Common Ground, a documentary. Another documentary, The Disappearance of Cher Height. Another doc, The Stones and Brian Jones. Lots to discuss. Plus, Do Not Disturb writer-director John Ainsle will be joining us at the end of the show. Big show today, so get ready with your chat comments and questions. I'm just reading what's on a list that I made, and I forgot a movie. So it happens. It happens. What can you say? All right, let's get things started. Let's get things kicked off. Let's go. Too much to do. Let's go. Can't find him. I don't know what it is. Here we go.
Yeah. You can't do that no more.
What I
MySpace girl of the week. Can't do
Alan!
more bus.
Hey.
What was that? I heard half a word.
It's okay. It's dude, technical problems today.
Yeah.
Technical problems. It's a normal day. How's everybody doing? I'm pumped.
I'm exhausted. I'm working on 3 hours of sleep right now.
Oh my God.
Stupid Hunger Games.
Well, there you go. Well, Napoleon, we got Napoleon coming up. That'll be interesting to discuss. We've seen so many movies that we can talk. Like we're just gonna like jump right in. I think
I've seen 3 on Sunday.
Yeah, no, it's that season, and they've kind of like jammed everything in. But we will get to as many of these as possible. And the next few weeks is just going to be grinding out reviews of films for you. What's with your eyebrows? It's funny. So Alan and I saw Napoleon earlier this week, and you would think that like when Alan and I get together, we'd talk about business and we talk about movies, but we were talking about silicone trays that you can get for your air fryer from Temu. And
Did you buy it?
I can't find it. I'm gonna need your. Can you send me a link? Can you send me a link to these?
Just do air fryer linings on TV.
Air fryer linings.
You'll see an entire page of silicone air fryer liners.
All right. Some quick comments here. First of all, Lori Ormond has been a member for 8 months. She says, everyone go to Film Threat and get a shirt. That's right. This is my reminder for you. We're going to talk about a couple things before, but go to shop.filmthreat.com. We have an offer code right now. See, like I could use your help. Like when I do stuff like this, like you can just do that without me asking.
Yeah.
We're like,
because
like,
yeah, that's right.
No, but like
these psychic.
I'm trying to do 7 things. And like, I feel like sometimes you're just watching the show. You're not like part of the show.
No, I'm getting chats, starring chats.
That's someone else's job. All right. Thank you, Lori Ormond. Everyone go to shop.filmthreat.com.
It's a 2-person job, believe me.
What's that?
It's a 2-person job, believe me.
All right. Person job. Okay. So go to shop.filmthreat.com. You'll see all sorts of cool stuff. We have our movie logo collection, 50. That's 50 different designs of Film Threat shirts. You pick the design, you pick the size, you pick the color that you'd like. Boom, you get yourself a Film Threat shirt. There is an offer code you can use right now to get 10% off. It's Film Threat-HO for 10% off. That offer code is only good for the next couple of weeks. I think through the first week of December. I will let you know when we cut it off. But go to the Film Threat shop and do that. And thank you, Lori. Lori redesigned our shop. Now it looks like a real shop. Thank you, Lori. I at least owe Lori a t-shirt, don't you think?
Absolutely. At least 3.
At the very least, a t-shirt. Other comments here. We have Nathan Fisher for $1.99 door fee and first super chat. Well, thank you, Nathan. We appreciate it. Thank you. Join first time, huh? First time. I'm doing the James Franco meme.
$1.99.
Hiya, fellas. I love Film Threat Friday. That's all from Philo Beto for £199. And Nicholas Vargo, a member for 1 month. Morning, guys. Spent yesterday seeing Hunger Games and Thanksgiving. Loved both. Also rewatched It's a Wonderful Knife. I like that one. Fair. Totally fair. I did not like it, but I'm not going to yuck your yum. I'm not going to yuck your yum. That's the one thing that I don't understand about people. Like when you talk to people on, you just give your movie opinion. It's like, my opinion doesn't invalidate your opinion. It doesn't invalidate it. Like your opinion is completely valid, as is, well, even Alan's opinion is valid.
It's always valid.
It is. I agree. I stand by you.
And I feel like it's always right.
Yeah. Well, yes. Eric Henson, who's a member, says, I'm seeing the new Hunger Games movie on Sunday. Wish me luck. Oh, I can't wait to hear Alan's opinion. Happy TGI Film Threat. My fellow dudes and dudettes, good vibes, says Maddie P, who's a member. And hey, movie peoples, says Goober. All right, before we go, I gotta share something with everybody. I gotta share. This is how like we like to celebrate a bunch of firsts, right? The first this, the first blah blah blah. Well, here's what I'm going to show you. This is the first music video for a documentary. Have you ever heard of a documentary having a music video? You ever heard that?
Well, music documentaries generally have.
No. Put that aside. Alan, forget what you just said.
No, okay, I'm sorry. No, I've never in the
You never heard of it. Just a random
documentaries. Have there been music videos for said documentary?
Oh my God. All right. So Zach Selwyn, of course, he's like the Greek chorus of my documentary Attack of the Doc, which is out on Blu-ray. We did a second run of Blu-rays. You can get it shop.filmthreat.com. We spun off a little just to promote it. It's basically the music video to promote the documentary, and we're going to watch it. It's like 2 minutes. You ready? Yes. You ready? We're going to watch it.
You're not going to copyright strike this.
Let me know. I'm not going to get copyright struck. It's something I own it. So,
okay.
So here we go. All right. You ready? Here we go.
Well, let's just booth babes at Comicon. You can't do that no more. Making gay jokes with a fat suit on. You can't do that no more. MySpace girl of the week. You can't do that no more. Making fun of someone for being a geek, as if you can't do that no more. No more bust his boob jokes being unaware. And don't even talk about the pedo bear. We did it once, but that was before. You can't do that no more. No, sir. Maxim bikini shoots and tie diving. Can't do that no more. Talk Eiffel Tower and end high-fiving. You can't do that no more. Using motorboating as a verb. You can't do that no more. Going on camera, smoking herb. You can't do that. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Like way more. Huh. Hey, put a server up your ass. What nerve saying now your ass has been served. We did it once, but now no more. You can't do that no more. What else? Shooting producers with BB guns. Can't do that no more. Kevin spiked a baby doll just for fun. You can't do that no more. Licking next-gen consoles, you can't do that no more. Watching new Attack of the Show, you can't do that no more. No more bust his boob jokes being unaware. And don't even talk about that pedo bear. We did it once, but that was before. You can't do that no more. No, you can't do that no more. Said we did it once, but that was before. You can't do that no more.
Oops, sorry.
Woo!
There we go.
There we go.
Well done.
All right. So that's a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun. So documentary has a music video. The other thing is the entire soundtrack is free on Spotify. All the songs that Zach did, including like 3 songs that didn't make the cut of the documentary, and even the score by Austin Smith. I'm proud of this film. I hope you get the Blu-ray. And to let people know, I just got word this week. People have been asking when we're coming to streaming. Attack of the Doc. This is an announcement. Breaking news. Attack of the Doc will be on Tubi before the end of this month. So you'll have to see ads, but you can watch it. You can watch Attack of the Doc free on streaming on Tubi. It might even be there now. I don't know. I just heard it's coming in the next couple weeks before the end of November. So there you go. But the way you really want to see it is you want to get that Blu-ray. You want to have that collectible with 25 hours of extras. And there we go. Okay. A couple more chat comments here. Chris, you can yuck my yum any day of the week. Heart, says Shucksy. Hey, Shucksy, I just sent a package to you. Let me know when you get that package. I put some interesting things in there. We'll see. We'll see what you think. The Raven in the Writing Desk member for 6 months says, thanks for the inspiring content. Have a great one. Love that. Hey, and Scott McKenzie, talked to Scott on Twitter. Member for 13 months. Attack of the Doc is outstanding. Hail, Chris and Alan. Well, there you go. Hail. All right, let's get into it. You've seen, we have so much to talk about.
Yeah.
Trolls, which is on our list. Do you want to do a quick review,
Sure.
Alan?
We'll do a very quick review.
We're gonna do
Trolls band together.
We're going to get to Wish, but we literally have like 8 or 9 films we're going to boom, rapid fire doing reviews. So be patient with us today. And then we have a special guest, Do Not Disturb, which is a film that I saw earlier this week. And it is, first of all, it is disturbing. But yeah. Here we go. Alan, what did you think of Trolls Band Together?
Okay, well, if you're like me and you've been following the whole Troll series because you have a child who insists on me taking her there, we are at the third Trolls movie. Excuse me. And in this case, if you're familiar with the Trolls series, Branch is Justin Timberlake. We find out early on that he used to be a part of a band called Brozone. And he was in this boy band with his brothers. Spruce, played by Daveed Diggs. Eric Andre is part of it. So what happens is because of Eric Andre's character Dory, the band falls apart because he's too controlling. And everyone hates him. All the brothers hate him, and they split up. And they split up, leaving Branch to take care of their father while everyone else goes and does their own thing. One of the brothers, Floyd, he is captured by some bad people. Shows you how much I'm paying attention to this. And Branch has to pull the gang together and rescue Floyd. But at the same time, they have to work out their differences. And hopefully the band can come together, save Floyd by performing the perfect harmony that can only be done by brothers. Look, this is pretty much on par with the Troll series. It's all about covering songs from the past, from the present. Hearing Justin Timberlake. Probably the best thing about this movie is the eventual reunion of NSYNC. All right, everybody, there's the reason why to buy a ticket to this movie. I will say the opening scene of Trolls is a wedding between Bridget, played by Zoe Deschanel, and her fiance, and it's a very colorful celebration, rainbows everywhere, and I'll let you think what you want to think from just that one statement. But once you get beyond that, it's pretty much a troll story. So I'll be honest, fell asleep during the first Trolls. I can't remember the plot at all of the second Trolls. So I'm just going to declare this one the best of the three. Solely because of the reunion of NSYNC. It's, it's fairly innocuous. The opening scene is fairly innocuous. If your kids are fans, they'll, take them to see the movie. And I'd say this, the screening I went to, all the children stayed through the credits because of the cool music. And so there you go. There's your Trolls review. If you have kids and they like Trolls, go see it. That's the recommendation you're going to get.
I have no interest in seeing this film. I saw the first one and it was fine. It was, it's the music. It's sort of like, it's like someone vomited up a box of crayons. It's like so colorful.
Crayons and glitter.
Yeah. But I do like the idea of a very controlling brother trying to like get people to just try to like towards a common goal. That's probably, without even seeing it, my favorite character.
The control. Yeah. Yeah. I can
That's
see
a joke.
I can see how you can relate to that.
I'm trying to do a show, Alan. I'm trying to do a show.
I know. Yeah. It's like the movie. My God, I was dragged to see the Emoji Movie, for crying out loud.
Oh my God. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know if we have any comments about this. I don't know that none. That's great. We're moving on. Let's do something else.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We're just warming people up. Getting we're at 700 people in the chat, and see where we at with Rumble. We have about 30 people in Rumble.
Well, there you go. Okay. Let's moving on. I don't think we need 3 or 4 pictures for every movie. Just a note. We don't need 3 or 4 photos for every movie. Probably like 1 or 2, especially if it's a small indie movie. What? Okay, and also
we were instructed 3. That's
okay. Here, and then here's the thing with the banner. Shouldn't it say next goals win review? We have a format. I this happens every show.
How about use this one instead?
Very frustrating.
Use this one instead.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, I think you're in the Hollywood on the Rocks banners and not the Film Threat Friday livecast banners.
Thank you, Alan, for your correction. I love being corrected. First of all, I love working with Alan because we had so much fun. We didn't do anything. We went to Zanku Chicken and we were just hanging out and like telling stories, and we are talking about air fryers.
Yeah.
That was our Monday. That was Tuesday. God, it's such a blur this week. I've seen like 2 or 3 movies a day all this week. So Next Goal Wins is Taika Waititi's film. It is the true story of a team from American Samoa that has never scored a goal. True sports story. And with the 2014 World Cup qualifiers approaching, they bring in a, failed player to coach the team from American Samoa to victory, or at least 1 goal. It stars, actually, Taika Waititi's in the movie. He kind of does this. Taika Waititi has a habit. He kind of opens the film saying, "You're about to see the story of," and he's got the New Zealand accent. And it's, I don't know that you needed that, but whatever. Michael Fassbender plays Thomas Rungan, this failed player who tragically lost he's an alcoholic and tragically lost his daughter in an accident. And it's tortured him. He just has checked out of life. And they send him off to American Samoa as 2 parts. 1, to help the team, and 2, to help heal from the loss of his daughter. He meets a ragtag group of just misfits, some of them very good players and some of them awful, but they don't play as a team. And I hate to say this. I don't hate to say this. I actually really like sports movies. Just the whole idea of sports movies are really simple. you either, just like in sports, you either win or you lose. Sometimes when you lose, you really win, because what do you win? You win respect, or you get a lesson. And this is kind of one of those movies. I'd say that it's more of a comedy, like in the vein of like a Bad News Bears. Not as good as Bad News Bears, but it's in the vein of more comedy than sports film. There is a trans character named Jaya, and there's a whole conflict with Thomas and Jaya over like her identity and whatnot. I'll say this: they do kind of mix in some actual footage from the real people. This is based on a real person. This actually happened. So some people might have a problem with the trans. I thought the trans character was very. I thought that storyline was well handled. I thought it was well handled, and also based on. I didn't feel like there was any sort of anything being pushed. Just a person dealing with identity. So this is a male to female, but because this person is a male, they're on the team. So Will Arnett is in it, and Elizabeth Moss, who I like. They're the ones that kind of send Thomas off on this journey. And it's a little long. I could have probably shaved about 15 minutes off. In the end, I enjoyed it. Not the best film in the world. I'm giving a very mild recommendation, probably a 6 out of 10. But you kind of have to already like sports movies. If you like sports movies, like soccer, or sometimes known worldwide as football, you'll like this film. If you don't like sports movies, you will not like this movie at all. So a very mild, kind of tepid. It was fine, but not the greatest sports movie. There are better movies that do what this movie was trying to do. I did really like the cultural stuff about American Samoa, because there's Samoa and American Samoa, and they're kind of a rivalry and they hate each other. And I really like those aspects, all the cultural aspects where they try to like Thomas is just like, he's just drinking alcohol through the whole thing. He's plastered. And when he finally breaks down and he's vulnerable in front of the team, I thought those were the best parts of the movie. So kudos to Michael Fassbender for taking on the role. A decent sports film, not the best in the world.
Was it funny?
There are parts that are very funny. I think it's because the characters are very endearing. The characters were endearing. So there you go.
And
right.
You're not Taika Waititi, are you?
Well, I'm just glad this isn't a superhero film. That's what I'll say. Is I believe that Taika Waititi is a very talented director, and I like to see him in something. Some people might be a little annoyed by some of the mess, what like some might perceive as messaging with regard to the trans character, but this was a real person. I mean, they show footage at the end showing like sort of a what happened to these people, or who they are. And the Michael Fassbender character, he kind of looks like the guy in real life, which was kind of cool to see. So
the trans character is basically brought in because it's part of the true story. Yeah.
Look, let's go to a quick comment here. Neil Fish says, from a Brit, I really enjoyed Moneyball. I love Moneyball. Yeah. That's one of my favorite. It's a very different film about baseball. I really quite enjoyed it.
I think you were going to say it was my favorite Jonah Hill movie.
It's my favorite Jonah Hill movie. So there you go. All right, pivoting. We're going to pivot because we have so much to discuss. What are we going to do next? Alan, I think it's time.
Okay. Is it time?
I think it's time. Enough people are here. Let me set it up.
Okay.
Don't nobody help me. Let me do this all by myself. I know what I'm about to do. Just give me a minute. Don't touch your computer keyboard. We're going to talk about it. Alan.
Yes.
You have seen Wish.
Yeah, let's do this.
Wish is Disney's big animated film for the holiday season. Disney, as we all know, is kind of fallen on some hard times. When it comes to these movies they're not guarantees anymore. Strange World. Was it Strange World?
Strange World, yeah.
Strange World. Huge fail. That movie pushed a lot of agenda, which I thought was weird. You and I both despised Strange World. I have no interest in seeing Wish and will more than likely see it only begrudgingly. Alan, what did you think of Wish?
All right.
And not only what did you think of Wish, where does Disney, how is Disney?
Oh yeah, we'll get into that. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get into it. Okay, so
all right, Alan, I can't wait.
First of all, Wish is the film that commemorates the milestone of 100 years of the Walt Disney Company. And man, you would think they'd pull out all the stops for that one. So here we go. We have Wish. It's we're in the land of Rosas. It's run by King Magnifico, who's played by Chris Pine. And a long time ago, the kingdom of Rosas was about to was on the verge of destruction. And King Magnifico, the master of magic, was able to defeat the evil and restore Rosas to its prominence once again. And in order to keep the land of Rosas safe, what King Magnifico does is every citizen of Rosas has a wish, a dream, as it were. Like one day your prince will come, or you want to become an artist or a musician, or you want to travel the world. This is the wish that people have, and King Magnifico says, look, give me your wish, because your wish will help me keep my magical powers, and that will allow me to keep the land of Rosas safe. All right, so there you go. That's the main plot. There's a young woman, a young girl named Asha, who is played by Ariana DeBose. And she loves Rosas, she loves her king, and wants to become the king's apprentice. And so on this day, she goes and she has a job interview to be the king of Rosas. And the queen gives her a recommendation. And so King Magnifico does the thing that he has never done. He's going to take Asha into the Chamber of Wishes. And you can see it here in the background. So all these little bubbles here, those are the wishes of the people. And she spots her grandfather's wish. And every year, what the king does is it's a wish ceremony. He bestows upon a few of the citizens their wish, so their wish will come true. And the thing is that Asha realizes that not everyone's going to get their wish. Some people will. It seems like maybe Magnifico's doing it for political reasons. And she begins to push back. And this upsets King Magnifico. And so much so that he doesn't hire her. He kicks her out of the castle and basically tells her that her grandfather and her mother will never get their wish. And so Asha walks off into the pasture and sings a song called Wish. And she and her friends, for the whole film, she and her friends must defeat King Magnifico and release all the wishes to all the people. So that's Wish. Okay.
Well, first of all, I checked out about halfway through your description of the movie.
This is fairly on par with a Disney princess movie. There's some magical thing that has to be done. And
did the grandfather wish for an air fryer with silicon?
With silicon linings.
Yeah, silicon linings.
So look, so I went to the big screening with the filmmakers, and here's a few things they said about Asha. She's an activist. And then Ariana DeBose, yes, she's an active, and in this movie she learns to step into her power. So that's, quite frankly, that's what this film is. It's about a woman who has a goal for her people to release their wishes, and she and her friends step into their power and defeat the king. So I'll say two good things about this movie. One is I love the art direction. It's kind of this thin pencil and watercolor. You can kind of see it there. The other thing is King Magnifico is, I would say, the return of the traditional Disney villain. He's evil, he's dastardly, and not to spoil it, but he suffers a Disney villain demise.
Oh, so
or
does he die? Okay,
he
I'm
doesn't
gonna
die. Oh, well, I didn't say
no.
that. But
Two quick things. One, all the villains, if you look at like Disney villains, the one thing that they're traditionally the way they look in terms of the design is they have hard edges. It's like very sharp corners, like triangles, right? So it's like if you look at, you can tell who the villains are because they're drawn very sharply.
yeah, here
Right, and
let me
then
pull up
soft,
I'm
and
gonna pull up
the protagonists tend to be soft in terms of their design. So
So,
see, harsh angles is
yeah.
what villains, you can tell a villain, all harsh angles. The second thing is I have to ask, does the villain die by falling from a high place?
Look, I can't. I
Don't
can't.
ruin it for me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna ruin. I'm not gonna ruin it. But of all the ways that Disney villains have either, I mean, look, not all of them have died, but they all have come to some end that's very Disney. I'll just say it that way.
I'll just say, if you look at look, I think that the leading cause of death of villains in movies is falling from a high place.
I would say the majority of Disney villains die by falling.
Hans Gruber in Die Hard, Emperor Palpatine in Return of the Jedi. I could go make a list. People in the chat, I want to see your best villains that died, leading cause of death of villains, especially in Disney movies, falling from a high place. Make the list. Let's see. We're gonna go through them.
Right.
But now,
so let me get into the review.
Please. Sorry there, man.
Okay. This is the worst animated Disney film in Disney history.
What?
Okay. It's my opinion. Let's just say that this is my opinion. I've been watching Disney animated films for 50 years, over 50 years. I've seen almost everyone except Homeward Bound, and Brother Bear 2. Oh no, Brother Bear 1. Coming out of this, walking away, watching this movie, I'm going, the animation in this is really bad. And not only that, and really bad by Disney standards. I mean, Walt set the standard. He is the father of animated features. He set the standard. And for some reason, it feels like what the Disney company, Disney Animation had done here is they fired everyone who is a veteran animator and just brought in, people that were cheap. And this is the way this movie looks and feels. I'll start by saying, I'll show you clips here from the trailer, but the way people talk just feels off. It's like too much squashing and stretching, while not squashing and stretching in other places. That's if you've ever read the book Illusion of Life, I think, it's written by Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnson, but it's the textbook for Disney animation, and it feels like they just threw it out, threw it away. The other thing is, look, if you look at this picture here, if you're a photographer or an artist, look at this picture and tell me what's wrong with it. Chris, do you know what's wrong with this picture?
No, what's wrong? Tell me.
What's wrong? The king here is in the center of the screen.
Right.
The king really should be off to 1/3 to the right, 1/3 to the left. The reason I point this out is I can go through this trailer. There you go. She's in the center, in the center, in the center. Okay, here's one where they got it right. I see. In the center, roughly in the center here. They got it right here. They got it right there. Yeah, here we go, in the center. And the reason I bring it up is it's just bland. It's I don't know. It's like they threw out basic art school and composition.
Interesting.
Okay, now look. Here's another issue I have with the movie. Look at this. This is Asha's friends. What word would you use to describe this picture?
Just I have one word pops into my head.
Yeah.
I'm gonna one word, and it starts with a D, and it's not what you think. It's diversity. Diversity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's part of it. Look, this is a magical land. I'm okay with diverse, but
yeah, I mean, who cares?
But the thing that, to me, this picture is bland.
Yeah.
Look. I mean, just look at where's your eye go. The reason why a character or a main subject is off to the left or to the right by a third is because it forces your eye to look around that screen and see the full picture, as opposed to if it's right in the center, you're locked in and you're not looking around. This one here, they're barely lit compared to the background, so they don't really stand out. They're not really doing anything, and quite frankly, this is her gang. They don't appear in a whole lot of the movie. Of course, they're part of the big ending, but I can't tell you a single name. Look how they're going. So he has a big nose. He's tall. He's short. But other than that, there's nothing really remarkable about these characters. It just feels bland.
Well, I mean, just upon looking, I'd say Big Nose is probably my favorite. I'm just, whatever.
Yeah, and I'm struggling to remember what he did in the movie. I remember the little guy here. He was kind of the grumpy of the troop. This is the one on the left here. She is disabled, and she is Ash's best friend. She's probably
is she in a wheel? I don't see anyone in a wheelchair.
No, she has a crush.
Disney, another Disney fail.
Yeah,
sorry.
The one in the back here, the girl in the back, she's an introvert. That's her big character. But it's just like I said, I can't remember a single name. I think Dahlia is the one on the left. I think that's the only name I remember. Now, this is a Disney musical, and I will say it over and over again. Disney hire Broadway composers to write your music. Howard Ashman, Alan Menken, the Kristen and Robert Lopez, Lin-Manuel Miranda. They know how to write catchy tunes. They know how to propel a story in their song, and they know how to make a song memorable. So everyone knows "Let It Go," but the Wish song here, I know the chorus, and that's about it. I don't know anything else. There's not a single catchy tune here. And look, I'm not gonna say that the music was bad. It's not a musical. The songs here are more like reflections. Like someone wrote down their thoughts in a journal, and then put that journal to music. There's this whole setup in the beginning where they introduce Rosas to everybody, and I don't remember the song. I don't exactly remember what's the basic plot point of Rosas. That's what I get. But when you look at Beauty and the Beast, when you look at Encanto, those are Broadway opening numbers. You remember it. It brings excitement. It sets the tone, and this one doesn't have it. To me, I think the biggest crime here, though, it has to be the animation, because this does not feel like a product that Walt Disney himself would be proud of. Because look, I'll go on. Look, here's a medium shot. There's a medium shot. Here's a bit of a close up. This is about as wide as the movie gets.
It just doesn't feel epic in scope. And I've seen the trailer, and nothing about it grabbed me. And I'll say this: I have seen movie trailers where within the first 10 seconds, you get like a taste of what the story is, what the character journey is going to be for the protagonist, and I'm just sucked in. I'm sucked in. I gotta see it. I have to see it.
But look, medium shot. I mean, this is how you film a stage play. You have 3D animation. You don't have to do a stage play.
You can put the camera anywhere. You can literally put the camera anywhere.
Right. Look again. I mean, look. This. Where was it? I was gonna say that wide shot. Oh yeah, this one here, the medium shot here. Sorry, I'm getting my shots mixed up. But this is a scene from a Food Network television show.
Oh my God, it totally is. But what it does is it shows you, okay, the early Disney animators and artists, they were inspired by, what were they inspired by? Art. They were inspired by like fine art in the world. They were inspired by classic literature. This Wish is inspired by Disney stuff and what people experience. That's why I think the new generation of corporate corporate like artists. They're not bringing anything new to the table. This just looks very boring in the way it's filmed.
This is a step backwards. It is a step far backwards. They're showing you the best of the animation. You watch the movie, I don't know if you remember Hunchback of Notre Dame, but in the background of the crowd shots, those were computer animated, and they acted computer animated. Right. And we forgave it because we knew the technology wasn't there, and we also knew that they were just background characters. In this one, it seems like everyone moves that way, in this kind of non-natural way. When you look at Beauty and the Beast, when you look at the classic films of Disney, Disney first started basically rotoscoping his animated films. He'd film someone and then animate over it. And then it just became broader and broader to these just sweeping movements. And this one just feels like a step back. I mean, I have to say that this image is indicative of what most of the film is. And it is, I just can't imagine Walt saying, this is how we do it at Disney Animation. It's like,
I mean, is it just easier because they don't have to animate the bottom half?
No,
puppets in a way.
Oh yeah, there's a scene where I think Magnifico is riding a horse, and you don't even see the bottom half of the horse, and so it's just him. I mean, and I'm like, wow, because Walt would have actually animated the full horse.
Well, this looks like a director problem, is what this is. This is more. This is on the director, or a lot of these animated movies have multiple directors. This is a director problem. And especially when you compare Wish to, we were talking about it yesterday, Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse, probably one of the best, if not the best animated movie this year was the new Spider-Verse film. You can't make the same accusations about Spider-Verse can you imagine going through Spider-Verse? And I mean, it's almost like Spider-Verse has the crime of like, it's too much, which isn't a terrible thing. It's not a bad thing, actually. Right. It's
not lazy, that's for sure.
It's not lazy, that's for sure. But this looks like it's lazy.
Yeah. Okay. So that's, I mean, this is I haven't even talked about the story yet. This is the look, the sound, the music is just so subpar. I mean, trolls band together so much better than this one. Let me talk about the story, and I'll just go basically with the hero's journey here. Asha is exactly the same at the start of the film as she was at the end of the film. The entire story is a quest. She has to do a thing. She has to defeat King Magnifico. How? With the help of her friends. She has no fatal flaws. She has no, and this is Disney was just known for this stuff. There's every hero. What makes us relatable to what makes us relate to heroes is they have some flaw that we have in our own personal lives, and reaching the quest means that they have to overcome that flaw. And so when we see the character overcome the flaw, we as the audience feel like we can overcome that flaw too. And therefore now the movie becomes inspiring. Here, she's an activist. She doesn't like what the king is doing. And so she's going to go back and undo what the king is doing. The king's not exactly doing the world's worst thing, but we can talk about that another time. And so she's an activist, and she has to inspire her friends. And there is a song that sets off the third act, which is basically your protest song. And
okay, okay. Now that you've told me more about the story, I have no interest in seeing this film at all.
I almost want you to see it just to make sure I'm not being overly critical. But okay, but everything I've said, there's one silver lining to this entire thing. This movie, the story, the basic story of Wish, is an anti-Marxist story.
What?
Yeah. Okay. So, and I'll tell you this: it's anti-Marxist, and I will bet you $1 million that the filmmakers didn't even know it. That they just told the story not realizing what it was. That they were so concerned about Asha being an activist that they didn't realize the broader story they were telling. So let me just set this up. Wish is the anti-Marxist story. King Magnifico wants to protect his country. He has provided them safety for a very, very long time. In fact, there's no imminent threat to the kingdom at this time. The kingdom lives in safety, and all Magnifico requires of the people's safety is that they give him their wish. So let's think about it from a political perspective. The government, run by King Magnifico, promises the people safety as long as they give up their freedom of their dreams, their freedoms. A couple of years ago, we were kind of in this situation where the government was promising us certain things, and all we had to do was give up a few of our freedoms. And this is what the basic story is here. And I will bet you $1 million that the filmmakers and the writers didn't even realize what they were doing at this point. So this movie is a mess, and I'm sure Walt would have approved of the overall message, but it's to call this the 100th the movie that marks the milestone of the Walt Disney Company for 100 years is shameful at this point. This is just, you would have thought they would put more effort into it, and they didn't. And that's
so Alan, do you recommend Wish?
No. No, I mean, look,
I want to make it clear.
The only reason I would recommend it is because maybe I'm looking into it too much. Maybe I'm being overly critical. I think what people will do, I think most people, when the review comes up and Rotten Tomatoes prints the most salacious line from it, they're going to say it was great. Yeah, the movie has a lot of flashing pictures, has an inspiring princess, but it's like it's a good-looking movie with no substance. And people will say I'm wrong because they enjoyed it, but what they enjoyed were French fries. There's no substance behind it, and that's what people who will criticize my review of this will come at me with. It was fun. Well, quite frankly, we deserve more than just fun.
Well, so it's unintentionally anti-Marxist.
Yes, it's unintentionally anti-Marxist.
Oh my God! And you don't recommend? And this is just to be clear, I've known Alan for a long time now. You are like the Disney. You've been to you're like a Disney file.
Yeah, I've been a Disney shill for a very long time.
No, but like you've had an annual pass in the past. I have as well had an annual pass to Disneyland. But you've been to like the Walt Disney Museum. Like you're like a super fan of Disney. You attend D23.
Here, I'll even that whole discussion I had about composition, about the third, not having your characters in the center of the screen but to the right. Guess where I learned that? I vacationed for a week at the Disney Institute. It was Disney fantasy camp basically, and I was put on. I took a photography tour of Discovery Island by one of the top Disney nature photographers, and given a bag of $2,000 worth of camera equipment and free film, and he taught us how to take pictures, how to make interesting pictures. This everything I've said about the art style and animation here, I learned it from Disney themselves.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is just wow. All right. You didn't have to convince me too hard to not see this movie, but there we are.
Yeah, I gave it a 3 out of 10. And that's lower than the Marvels.
Right. Wow, 3 out of 10. Oh, is the review on Film Threat yet?
Yeah, it is. The embargo is 9 o'clock. It's there now. It's the review on the front page right now.
Oh shoot! All right,
yeah,
we gotta go.
And be honest. Look, it's over 900 words long, and there was still more I wanted to say. Like I didn't even bring up the anti-Marxist stuff. So there you go.
There it is. Wish.
Front
page of Film Threat, and it gets a 3 out of 10. Wow, Alan, that's
that's the exact
surprising
expression.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to chat comments and questions now from our audience. Stitch gifted 5 Film Threat memberships. We appreciate that. That's awesome. We have over 1,200 people watching live right now. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, please subscribe. We will appreciate it. Bush and Ryu Cat for 2. Alan, what you think of Blue Sky's Ice Age series?
Yeah, it was okay. I
There you
believe
go.
I don't think my daughter was born when that came out, but I do remember liking Ray Romano a whole lot at that time.
We're live also on Rumble. So Winter Soldier sub-supporter says Lin-Manuel Miranda music is too complex for kids, and Disney did not learn this lesson from Encanto, when parents of little kids would complain the volume was too loud in the theater. Also from Rumble.
Oh, let me just comment to that.
Sure.
In my sphere of influence, children love Encanto, and I will agree the opening number was overwhelming to me. I didn't understand a thing about it until I saw it the second and third time. But I would say children, I think Encanto will prove to be, up there as one of the better Disney films.
Caveat Ties sub-supporter for 2 says the problem with liberal education today is that liberal means new most. The old definition meant a well-rounded and varied education. Yeah.
Mhm.
When I went to college, liberal arts meant like you experienced a lot of different Western culture in terms of literature. And look, to be fair, I went in the 80s to college. So a long time ago in a galaxy in Detroit, actually. But well-rounded is not what I think kids are getting in college right now, from what I hear and see. The Introspect M, who's a member, says, Alan, you might enjoy Drawn to Life, Volume 1 and 2 by Walt Stanchfield, which is a collection of lectures given by the original Disney masters on animation. I'll have to check out the book you mentioned as well, too.
I mean,
I'm
just gonna say, if you look at the early, all the short animated films that Disney did prior to Snow White, it was just that was Walt testing testing the animation style. This whole animation style is 100 years old.
Yeah,
and yet somehow they do it better today.
And Bush and Rio Cat goes on to say, democracy is living under different lifestyles, choosing the way you want to live and still live with the people you can disagree with. Communism, the opposite. There you go. Red Dave, member for 10 months, says, Ing the Merciless is going scorched earth. Love the analysis and critique of Wish. Look at that. And Brock Samsonite says, this movie should have been called Temu because it took 8 weeks to get here and it's cheaply made. I order stuff from Temu. I'm
addicted to Temu right now. I hate to say it.
Raylo Normie says, so is this an allegory about how bad God is?
No. I think that's the one thing that we can all say, that the whole idea that it's the idea that King Magnifico is God granting some wishes for people, not granting others for their own good. That's not the issue. And this is another problem of the movie, is that I think it confuses dreams and wishes. Someone said a dream is a wish your heart makes. I think this movie is about dreams and not about wishes. I wish to be a traveler. I wish to be a musician. That's more like I dream one day I'll be a musician. I dream one day I'll be traveling. I dream one day I'll be a hero. This is the inherent confusion that occurs because I think the premise of wishes is a bit convoluted. When this movie really should have been called Dream as opposed to Wish.
Kenji Fox says, isn't Wish supposed to be in Spain? Why is the protagonist not a European girl?
Wasn't she European? I believe it is. It's supposed to be set around Spain. This is the age we live in.
If it's set in Spain, that means Paulie from Latino Slant, this is his favorite movie of the year. He already loves it, and he hasn't even seen it yet. I want to do that meme where it's like you see the guy with the girl, and the girl is the current thing, and then but he's looking back at another girl. That's Paulie. When anything Latino is involved, that's Paulie. He is literally that meme going, hey, is it Latino related? I love it already. That's Paulie. Love you, Paulie.
I like that. You insult him and then you tell him you love him.
No, I do, but that's also I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Nickel Junkie Uminanka sends in 499. Thank you for that, Nickel Junkie. And a super chat here from Stephen Ellis, who's a member, £2. Suzume is the best animation of the year. There you go. Well, The Boy and the Heron is not out yet. And The Boy and the Heron, I just got tickets for it. I just got tickets for that. The Boy and the Heron. That's the new Miyazaki. So let's wait.
Yeah.
But Suzume is definitely on that list.
Yeah. From an animation standpoint, definitely.
Yeah. And then final chat comment here. Nick Brown says, no wish for you. No wish for you, Alan. So there you go. All right. Time to pivot. And we're going to talk about some other film. One that Alan and I have both seen. Well, we both seen it now.
Yeah.
And it's time to discuss The Hunger Games, the Ballad of Songbirds. I'll get it right. The Hunger Games, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And just to be clear, there's no ampersand. It's actually spelled out A-N-D if you actually look up the film. I pay attention to details like that. I'm very annoyingly detail-oriented. But whatever. All right, Alan, I gave an early review and early reaction to this. The main takeaway being that Rachel Zegler is not the main character. She's not the main protagonist. She is a main character, but not the protagonist of the film. The protagonist is Snow. She plays a character named Lucy Gray, who, through fortune, there are going to be some mild spoilers in here. So I'm warning people right off the bat, mild spoilers. Snow actually helps her cheat during the Hunger Games. And she becomes a folk hero because of it. But she's not really the focus. The focus is Snow and his transformation from a virtuous person living in the capital trying to do good into the pure evil that he becomes as Snow, as portrayed by Donald Sutherland, because in the later film, in the earlier films, because this is a prequel. But Alan, tell us your thoughts on the Hunger Games, and if there are any other story points that you feel are worth covering. I'm giving a very, very broad.
I know mine's gonna be super quick. Let's just couch this by saying I saw it at the film didn't start until 11:30 at night last night.
Oh my God!
And I was in my car by 2 a.m, and I'm at the Grove, and so I have another hour drive home so I'm a little punchy about this one. Look, I'm not a big fan of the Hunger Games series. I haven't seen the full thing. I felt like this was okay. You know, I didn't look after the Marvels. I'm like, this is a great improvement. Unlike the Marvels, half the theater was full of teen girls. You know, so it's a popular series. I thought it's, you know, from a visual standpoint, it looked good. I thought it was interesting. You know, I think a lot of my feelings about this film, I think is clouded a little bit by what you said in terms of the plot. Because, you know, I kind of think that, you know, I was thinking about what you were saying while watching the movie, and just knowing that he's going to turn at some point. I'm not fully convinced that that the turn and all the character shifts really worked for me, especially in that third act. But you know, I think I appreciate some of the storytelling elements that got us there. Quite frankly, Rachel Zegler was pretty good. She's got for someone who is singing songs created off the top of her head, she does a really good job of doing that.
It feels like it.
I know it feels like it, but it's like, this is actually a pretty nice song. And you know, the Hunger Game itself, you know, that's what you're there for. And you're right, it's literally Act 2 of the movie. So, you know, because I'm still sleepy, it's hard for me to actually give it a good give it a well thought out review. But I will say I don't really have any problems with this movie. I don't think it's the greatest movie ever made. I don't think it's deep as as I think it could have been. There's a moment at the end with Peter Dinklage's character that is kind of like, oh, that's a really interesting thing he brought up.
Right.
But I felt like I don't feel like the film really built its way to. It just felt like he just said it as a way to make some kind of profound statement at the end. Viola Davis. Wow, she's so creepy in this one. It was really
she's awful. I really like Viola Davis as an actress. She is terrible in this.
She made choices.
She made a choice to go, I'm just going to go over the top. I'm going to be mad scientist, creepy. And she does it. And it's so bad. It's embarrassing. It's like she's in a different movie than everyone else.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Where's the director to say, hey, could you dial it back a bit? Can you go more subtle? Peter Dinklage is just Peter Dinklage in this. And I actually really, really like Peter Dinklage. I think he's fine. Yeah. The actor that plays Snow, I thought was very good. Tom Blythe.
Yeah, very likable, very charismatic. I mean,
he is. And then he does horrible things. I mean this in a good way. At the end of the film, I thought he did a very good job.
So let me ask you this: who is worse, Dr. Gall, Viola Davis, or Victor Timely?
Oh my God! I think they're both terrible. Oh my God, that's funny that you make that. Yeah. So Jonathan Majors as Victor Timely or Viola Davis as Dr. Vol.
Yeah. I'm saying
they're both awful.
It's the same comment I made with Victor Timely. It's like it's a choice. It's an actor making a choice.
It's terrible.
And sometimes I appreciate the fact that they would make the attempt, whether they pull it off or not. At least they're trying to do something different. But who was worse? Whose choice was worse?
Well, I think Viola Davis might have been worse because a lot of the effects that they associated with her character, she's like this mad scientist who's trying to come up with new twists in the Hunger Games to keep it interesting. And this is the early days of the Hunger Games. This is like the 10th Hunger Games, and it's not as popular with the populace, is kind of getting bored with it. So they have to mix in some stuff to make it popular. And Lucy Gray, as portrayed by Rachel Zegler, her character, Lucy Gray, becomes very popular because of her folk songs. When she plays a song and then the public's like really interested in this young girl who is so frail and tiny, she's gonna die. Like there's no way she has any chance in the Hunger Games. They're much stronger people. She will just get murdered. And of course her character enjoys some success, and it's surprising and not surprising when you learn that someone was helping her cheat. So which I actually think like makes sense. Like you're like, there's no way Rachel Zegler, her character could win the Hunger Games. I mean, I buy Jennifer Lawrence. Actually, I like the first Hunger Games movie. I thought it was a fine story. I don't know that you needed all the other sequels. Made no sense to me. I thought they were completely unnecessary sequels. It told one interesting story of a dystopian world that you could see happening. You could see resources being limited or only for elites, right? Mm-hmm. Like who would imagine that we'd be catapulting towards a world like that? Could anyone have imagined that happening?
Yeah, so where you're saying where the elites sit back in luxury and comfortability, watching the peons kill each other on the streets?
Yeah. Who would have imagined that would be a world that
I can't imagine the world would ever head in that direction,
or a world like that could even exist. That's a crazy thought, Alan. That's
that world could exist outside your front door.
At this point, yes. But look, I think this movie is it surprised me in the sense I had zero expectations. So and the fact that it's like the story pivoted more towards the story of Snow, I actually liked. I like that aspect. It's almost like the trajectory of like an Anakin Skywalker, right? Of starting out completely virtuous and good, and then you see the turn to evil based on circumstances and politically how he looks at the world. That's the part of the movie that works for me. It didn't need to be 2.5 or 2 hours and 40 minutes, whatever it is. I mean, 2 hours. First of all, I can't believe that you were at the Grove and you saw it. And
yeah, because I was at the Color Purple premiere, And that was another 2.5-hour movie. And I wasn't going to get back in time. So I decided I'm just going to go to the Grove and watch it there.
Oh my God. Well, you're tortured yourself for no reason, Alan. I feel bad.
Yeah.
I feel bad, but this is how dedicated Mr. Ing is. Ing the Merciless. Look, I think this movie is for me like a 5 out of 10. And, it's hard to get enthusiastic. Are they trying to make another trilogy? I don't know. I don't know why we needed this film. Did we need a snow prequel? It just,
yeah. I mean, I'll say that the fans of the Hunger Games series that were in my theater liked the movie. I don't know that they would say it was, I don't know where it was on their rankings. I'm pretty sure it was mid to low, but I mean, I think it served up the member berries and the nostalgia that it needed to.
And there wasn't that much. There wasn't that many. But what I did like about it from a production design standpoint, the way it was directed, is this is a prequel. So because it's a prequel, the Hunger Games is not as sophisticated. They haven't even quite worked out the gameplay or how it works. It's literally just a bunch of kids in an arena with weapons. That's it. And they've got like some drones that kind of like can help or hurt. So I like that. It's like, oh, they didn't, like sometimes they'll do a prequel and you're like, wow, the world is more sophisticated in the prequel than it was in the original films because of, advances in technology and special effects. This movie didn't do that. And for that, I give it credit. Is this truly felt like a prequel in the sense of like the world is moving toward the one that Jennifer Lawrence exists in, which is what, like 50 years later or something. And so I thought I give them credit for that.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not particularly bothered by anything in this movie. I give it a 6. Give it a 5. I'm not going to, a 5 to me is a thumbs down. 6 is a bare thumbs up. I'll give it the bare thumbs up.
All right. Well, 5.5 then. But yeah, there you go. So I not a very strong recommendation from either of us.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to your chat comments and questions here, starting with some super chats that popped in. Hey, Wild Hunter for £2 says, Ing is both merciless and wise.
Much like Jesus.
What are you talking about?
Well, isn't that what they said about Aslan? No, like you should fear him, but he's good. Something like that.
Well, I'm not sure. I don't know the
exact quote, but I know it's there.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Okay.
69.
Seen that one in a while.
We still have that one. Okay.
Yeah. So, okay. More chat comments and questions here. Matthew Hammond for $4.99. Has there ever been a prequel that is as good or better than the original movie?
I want to say yes, but I can't think of it.
I would say no. There isn't. And I saw when I was a kid, Butch and Sundance, the early days, which was a prequel to Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, which was a great film starring Paul Newman and Robert Redford, but they die in the end, so you can't make a sequel. So they made a prequel and cast 2 younger men that kind of look like the two of them. And I remember like, oh, that was okay. But I literally cannot think of any prequel that was better than the original movie. Not one. Nothing comes to mind.
If you think about it logically,
yeah. If you think about it logically.
Sorry, if you think about it logically, if this prequel was meant to be better than the sequel, they should have just started with the prequel rather than the original film.
Right. Alan, you kind of drifted off there. Everything all right?
I know, because I was pulling up something on IMDb and it ruined my internet signal. So.
Oh, no!
So,
how would you define exploitation, Alan?
Exploitation? Gratuitous. Gratuitousness.
I haven't seen that one in a while.
Yeah.
Hey, Ken Bogus Ken Bogus, member for 15 months, says, weird. More comments here. Ejecta Perfecta. The kids these days refer to this movie as HGBSS, believe. Uber B man, who wanted another Hunger Games? Let's see.
Yeah.
Probably investors, stockholders.
Yeah, Lionsgate. I think they
Lionsgate wanted money. Who wanted another Hunger Games? The first one was interesting, but it quickly got boring. A world run by people from Project Runway and 1930s Germany, essentially. That nails it right there. I liked the first Hunger Games, didn't care to see any of the sequels, it just didn't need more story. That the first story was fine. And I liked Jennifer Lawrence.
I mean, you remember Hunger Games started the whole YA novel surge.
Then they were doing things like Maze Runner, Divergent, the young adult novel where it's like you've got good-looking people from CW shows in peril in sort of semi-sci-fi circumstances.
In angsty teen sci-fi. Angsty teen sci-fi.
Exactly. Sean Hu says The Hunger Games 4, The Search for More Money. And Ejecta Perfecta comes back again. Hollywood is so weird. Never heard of Rachel Zegler, then suddenly she is in every movie that needs a lead actress that is supposed to be a teenager 20-something. Yeah, fair. Pilgrim Media for 2. Ing the Merciless is inevitable. So funny, I was watching Gary yesterday. He was just doing a stream from, where is he, in Wisconsin?
Yeah.
And he mentioned Ing the Merciless. Nobody calls you Alan anymore. It's Ing the Merciless.
Yeah, by the way, new YouTube channel, subscribe to.
Subscribe to Ing the Merciless.
Yeah.
Bush and Ryu Cat for 5. Chris, Alan, did you buy your tickets yet for the American release of Godzilla -1, IMAX or no? Oh, 100%. I have tickets for there is a Wednesday, November 29th, a fan event. Look up your local theater. 100% doing IMAX. I am seeing it at the AMC Burbank 16 in IMAX on November 29th. I bought and I rebought them because there was a 5:00 show. I'm doing the 8:00 show. So I'm seeing it that Wednesday.
Okay,
cannot wait. I have heard people raving about it. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Ken Bogus gifted 20 Film Threat memberships. Ken, that is huge. Thank you for that. Hey, new members, if you got a membership, join us on Discord. There will be at the end of the show, look on our community tab. There's going to be a new link to sign up to the Discord where you can continue to talk to everyone in the chat who's a member. And thank you for that, Ken. That's very generous. Also, we do giveaways. They're for members only. And I'm giving away, I've got another digital screener that I'm going to be giving away. I don't know. I think in the next week, be giving it away. A lot of giveaways are coming up. So pay attention to the community tab for members only for those giveaways. So there you go. Oh, and thank you, Ken. The Nerd Far Away says, did they remake The Color Purple? Why?
Okay. It's the musical. It's the Broadway musical.
It's the Broadway musical. That's what it is. So they took
Oprah produced it, and Fantasia Barrino and Danielle Brooks reprised their roles from the Broadway musical.
This is the new trend. What they do is there's a movie from a long time ago, and there's a movie. Then what happens is that movie gets made into a Broadway play.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Broadway play gets made into a movie based on the Broadway play. I'm surprised we haven't seen Beetlejuice the musical, which Beetlejuice the musical actually exists, and I kind of wanted to see it, but yeah, kind of weird.
Yeah, have you seen
Nerd Far Away?
Have you seen the Catch Me If You Can musical?
Is that the Leonardo DiCaprio movie?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And this is the problem is that musical, the tone is light and comedic. And I'm like, wow, the original movie is so much better.
The movie is like a suspense thriller.
I know.
With like a mix of comedy, but not
now it's a musical with dance numbers.
Wow. All right. We got a lot more movies to talk about, but let's get through some of these. The Alex Zorba member for 15 months says skip all the Hunger Games and watch Battle Royale. 100%. First of all, Hunger Games ripped off Battle Royale. Battle Royale is a brilliant Japanese film. I believe it's based on a manga, and it is the first Battle Royale is great. They made like 2 sequels were terrible, but that first Battle Royale was great. And it's a film I bought. I had to buy it from the UK. I bought what they call a gray market DVD. You know what that is? A gray market DVD is a DVD that is region free, meaning, America's continental US is region 1. You've got like different regions, and it's to cut down on piracy. So if you buy a gray market DVD, it'll work on any DVD player. If you buy a DVD in a certain country, it only works on that country's DVD players. And by the way, I made Attack of the Dock, the Blu-ray is region free. It will work on any Blu-ray player. So I did that on purpose because I wanted people internationally to be able to buy the DVD and play it on any player. So yeah, that's how I got Battle Royale. I just bought it from the UK. I paid probably too much. I didn't care, and love that movie. And the movie came out. It was going to get a big theatrical release in the United States, and Columbine happened. And it never got a theatrical. They canceled all plans to release the movie. So it was one of those movies you kind of had to know about on DVD and then kind of had a second life. But thankfully, if that movie had a bigger release in the United States, maybe the Hunger Games wouldn't have. Hunger Games is a complete ripoff. I actually think Battle Royale is better. That's just
By the
me.
way, if you want to save time, next time go to Chinatown or Little Tokyo.
Right. And then that's where I'll find my DVDs. Yeah. Bobby's World for 5 says, ahoy, my Hunger Games has always been Battle Royale. Far better version, my personal opinion. You and I are the same. And Stephen Anguiano, why did I say it like that? Stephen Anguiano has become a YouTube member. Thank you, Stephen, for that. Much appreciated. JWT6577 is a member for 5, says, this is America. We call it Battle Quarter Pounder. Oh my God. Now you just put that image in my head. Now I want McDonald's.
No, I think the better one is Battle Whopper.
Holy sh! Bush and Ryu Cat.
Did you just skip okay.
For 100 says, Chris, I'm hijacking the show for 5 minutes. The 3 Batmans, Bale, Affleck, and Patterson. Rate them in order. Alan, you can join in if you like. Each one I think was a different time of Bruce's life. My fave is the Bale one. He's Batman only by need. This is very easy for me.
Yeah.
What's interesting is Patterson represents early Batman in his career. Okay, I'm just becoming Batman, young Batman. Bale represents, I believe, prime Batman. And then Affleck is end of career Batman, after Robin has been murdered and he's lived a little life, right? But I'll say this, Christian Bale's my Batman. He's not only a great Batman, he's a great Bruce Wayne. I don't think Robert Pattinson was not a very good Bruce Wayne. I thought he was a decent Batman, but not a great Bruce Wayne. I thought, and I really, and Bale top for me, Affleck right up there, but doesn't surpass Bale to me. And I think that the problem is the Ben Affleck Batman was saddled with one. He was the side character to BVS. Then he's in Justice League. We never got a Ben Affleck Batman movie. So who knows?
Yeah, I don't think his screen time warrants a full feature yet.
Yeah, but
he's not been in the movies a whole lot as Batman, just enough to make an impact, definitely.
Right, but I kind of feel like, he didn't get the Batman movie that he should have gotten. But that's incredibly generous, Bush and Ryu Cat. Thank you for the hundy. And Bale to me, Bale, Affleck, Pattinson. That's easy, but I think they each bring something different. The one thing that Christian Bale did was he was a very good Bruce Wayne.
Mhm.
And they gave Bruce Wayne something to do. It's like, I'm going to be this public figure that people look at as a buffoon, and they would never suspect that I'm Batman. And even when, like, I love Alfred in that, where he's like, why don't you take up a hobby like polo so you can explain all these injuries? You know what I mean? Like, I love that. So yeah, love that trilogy. I mean, the third one is flawed, but I really love it. And yeah, thank you for that, Bush and Ryu.
I mean, the next Pattinson one will say a lot as to whether he got command of the character or not,
if it even gets made.
Yeah,
I think there's some question if it's going to get made. Thank you, Bush and Ryu. Pilgrim Media for 2. What are you guys' favorite Kurosawa film?
I've only seen one.
I've
only seen one.
I would say probably Seven Samurais, probably like right there. I mean, that's the one, that's sort of default setting, but it's probably the most influential because it's influenced Westerns like The Magnificent Seven, right? So yeah, thank you for that. Rumble Rant here. Yeah, Rumble Rant here. Caveat ties supporter for 2. One continuity error with this one is that there was only one winner from District 12 before Katniss. They explain that. No, because this happens like 50 or 60 years before. It's decades before Katniss. So I don't even know if that's ever. I don't think that I never paid attention.
But it's ironic that Jennifer Lawrence would say that she was the only winner from District 12.
Right.
There was no other female District 12 winner before Jennifer Lawrence. Okay.
Contrarian 420 for 2. Thoughts on 13 Assassins by Takashi Miike? I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen that one in a long time. I'd have to see it again. But I like Takashi Miike. Any Alan thoughts?
I've not seen him.
All right, we got to move on here and talk about. Oh yeah, hey, it's me in HD. Member for 6 months says thoughts on Scarface on the eve of its 40th birthday. I have a review of Scarface coming up as an episode of DVD Tuesday. I have the Blu-ray edition that comes with the statue, that's in the center. It's a replica of the statue that's in the center of his mansion. And it's great. It's in Fathom Events has saved me. I would not be going to the movie. I have tickets to see Monty Python. There's so many Monty Python's Holy Grail. It was ahead of its time. And that scene with the chainsaws. If you rewatch the scene with the chainsaws in Scarface, you don't see as much as you think you see. A lot of it is in your head and with sound. Brilliant. So yeah, I love Scarface. It was way ahead of its time. Tony Montana. And that song by Blondie. Rush. Anyways, I'm not going to sing it. I will spare all of you. But thank you, hey, it's me in HD. The fan with no name for 2. Battle Royale on an island with kaiju. Yay or nay? That is a brilliant idea. That is a brilliant idea. I would love to see that. I am looking forward to Godzilla -1. Monarch is out. And I did an early review of it. I saw the first 5 episodes. I did not like it. I found it infuriating. I did not like that film at all. Take that, Alan. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm watching the stream.
What's that?
I'm watching the stream. Sorry.
But yeah, no, that's a great idea, fan with no name. Yeah, you could probably, that seems somewhat original idea. I like the idea of combining 2 franchises. So Battle Royale with Toho Monsters, that's a cool idea. Or a friend of mine once suggested they should merge the Transformers and Fast and the Furious franchises. So the Fast and the Furious characters drive the cars and trucks that end up being Transformers. Why don't you just combine franchises? Right? That's the next step. I think that is the next step of what's coming. That is the next step. Okay. Because here's where we're at. I'm going to do a quick rant here. Here we go. A freaking IKEA chair witnessing the end of pop culture. Our favorite franchises are dying. They're dying, Senator. We are seeing the end of Marvel, the end of Star Wars, the end of DC, the end of some of the most popular franchises ever. The logical next step in all of these franchises is to combine them. I want to see Rocky fight the Terminator. I want to see the cast of the Fast and the Furious. I want to see them driving the trucks and the cars from the Transformers. I want to see, as suggested from our chat, kaiju on an island with Battle Royale. Let's now start combining, and there's precedent for this. In the comic books, the characters from Star Trek The Next Generation met the X-Men. That is a comic book that exists. Look it up. Marvel versus DC. That's where you go. Now that these franchises are dead, the next logical thing is just to take them and mash them up. Because Hollywood is out of ideas. A freaking IKEA chair. Well, I just had to get that. I thought that would be fun.
See, I wonder if it's
thank you, fan with no name.
Is it incompetence or conspiracy? Because I part of me feels like they don't know how to handle the beloved IPs of the past. At the same time, it feels like that they just want to go into our bedrooms, take our action figures, and mess around with them, and destroy the things we love,
right?
Because they hate us,
right? And
I can't decide which is the more plausible reason.
Right. Just a few more. We have a lot of movies to cover, and in approximately 15 minutes, we have a guest coming on the show. So we've got a bunch of films to review. Going to get through these quick. Contrarian 420 for 2. Mad Max is the only franchise with a positive trend. Mike MC Wong, Battle Royale, Disney Princesses. I will pay to see that.
That would be awesome.
That's actually a good idea. Member for 9 months, Kel Razor says 44 years ago, Salem's Lot was released. Thoughts?
I think Elsa wins.
Yeah, because she has powers. Salem's Lot. I thought it was fine when it came out. I haven't really thought much about it since. Alan, any thoughts on Salem's Lot?
Didn't see it.
Well, then that ends. Well, thank you, Kel Razor. We appreciate your support. And Rumble Rant from Caveat Tie sub supporter. No, okay, we already did that. Okay, all right. We're gonna pivot. We're gonna review a movie that Alan has wanted us to review for a very long time.
Yes.
You know which one I'm talking about, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. It's almost as if you guys can read my minds. Okay, wait.
We gotta adjust ourselves.
Wait. Yeah. You and I like Hey Alan. Hey Alan, how's it going, Alan?
Good.
Hey Alan, how are you?
Yeah, I like your hot tub.
Hey, how's it going, Alan? How are you? You gotta go lower, Alan.
I know. Okay.
A little bit lower.
Yeah.
Go a little lower.
I gotta raise the camera. There
hey Alan, how are you?
Good.
That's great. Okay, cool.
That's a nice top you have on.
Oh my God. All right. Now, it sucks that I got to put like a little head around this, but let's talk about Girls on Film. It's a movie you've been begging to talk about on the show. Yeah. Tell us about Girls on Film, Alan.
Yes. So Girls on Film stars Dare Taylor as Jenna. She is a cam girl, a successful cam girl who gets kicked out of her rented home because of what she does. So she can't cam anywhere. She can't do her thing. She's trying to save up for nursing school, of course. But then she sees a Craigslist ad for a little mansion out in Palm Springs. And when she arrives, she is met by the other young woman here, Blake, played by Willow Gray. And she says, hey, I just want some company. I live with me, cam all you want, make whatever money, and just pay my uncle for rent. That's all. And so as the two get to know each other, Blake becomes interested in Jenna's business and says, hey, if you're going to cam next time, why don't I join? I'll wear a mask and I'll join you on your live stream. And so they do, and then they start making out, and it gets really hot and heavy. And lo and behold, Jenna makes the most money she's ever made as a cam girl, and she tries to give Blake half of the money, but Blake says, "No, I just love doing it. You keep it." And what winds up happening is a relationship starts building between Jenna and Blake. And Jenna starts to experience things about life and love that she's never experienced before in her life. And her relationship with Blake gets hot and heavy and oh so naked. And then things take a dark turn. And look, we don't talk a lot about exploitation films here on the Film Threat Livecast, so this is your film. It's two girls making out and a lot of nudity, and there's a little thriller aspect to it. So it's not quite Cinemax, but it is. I think this falls kind of in the Full Moon Features kind of category of their adult content. So look, I don't remember much of the plot after that, but damn. There's a lot of making out in this movie.
Do you recommend Girls on Film?
I do recommend.
It's out on VOD,
the acting
right?
is not the greatest. The production values are not good, and I think they could have increased the cinematography budget or gotten a real cinematographer. And look, we have two actresses here who are on their road to becoming actresses, and they're on the early part of that road, and
right.
That's kind of it. And so why not? This fits. I think this film will fit in a lot of wheelhouses. I could have probably said that dirtier,
right?
But there you go.
All right. Just a quick chat comment here. Junior Steven 5. I think I read that correctly. Thank you, Junior. I hope Duran Duran's song "Girls on Film" features in the Girls on Film film.
This is a low-budget indie thriller.
Well, I'll just say this. I love that Duran Duran. I had a VHS tape in the 80s that was uncut, unedited music videos, and the Girls on Film one was nearly pornographic. It was so sexy. Yes, look up the unedited Girls on Film music video, which is fantastic. From Rumble, Ellis24 says, is this more titillating than the film Cam that came out a few years back?
Yeah, I think Cam much more of a kind of a horror thriller.
I think we reviewed Cam, actually.
Yeah, I think we may have even done a watch party for it.
Daniel G for 2 says my mind.
Cam, I know what you're saying. No, it's not. I think Cam is that kind of that voyeur type Cam thing. This is not that. This is your OnlyFans performances.
Gotcha.
Basically.
And this is Daniel G's for 2 says my mind is telling me no, but my body. And Aaron Taylor says Alan's recommendation, Skinamax Classic. All right, so let's do this. We're going to pivot very quickly and talk about a film that I believe. Here we go. Good timing on this. Let's see. I'm going to try to find the banner. There we go.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Eli Roth's Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is actually based on it's based on a fake trailer for a movie that came out with Grindhouse. Do you remember the Grindhouse movie with Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino? Kind of made these mini feature films, and there's a bunch of fake trailers in that presentation. Well, Thanksgiving is something that Eli Roth put together as a fake trailer. He has now spent 16 years trying to get this movie made, and boy, does it deliver. Let me just say, I mean, it's first of all, it starts out, of course, on the holiday of Thanksgiving, and it's everybody's getting ready for the midnight opening for Black Friday sale. Everybody gets a free waffle iron. The first 100 customers get a waffle iron, and it's nuts. So you see a family on Thanksgiving. Gina Gershon is there, and you meet kind of the guy who's the head of this company, which is like sort of like a Best Buy. What's his name? Rick Hoffman plays this character who is Rick Hoffman, an actor that you will recognize. Patrick Dempsey is the sheriff of the town. And Tim Dillon is a guy who works at this Best Buy type store. And I love Tim Dillon. He is a frequent guest on the Joe Rogan podcast. And he also does his own podcast. He is hysterical. And he's basically just Tim Dillon in this. You meet a bunch of kids with forgettable names. They're all high school kids with forgettable names, and they go to a Black Friday sale that ends up being a disaster. It ends with people dying, people trampling over people to get that free waffle iron. It's just insane. It's the first 20 minutes. It's the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie, and it is so fun because it's so over the top. Eli Roth with the gore just goes way over the top. I mean, you could describe this as a horror slasher film, and it's definitely horror slasher because there's a character, this axe-wielding maniac, and it's all set in Plymouth, Massachusetts, and he's got this mask of like one of the pilgrims, and he's off killing people a year later. So this is a year after the events of this Black Friday sale gone wrong. You've got an axe-wielding slasher that's trying to recreate a Thanksgiving dinner, basically getting revenge on certain types of people. So it has that kind of element of Scream of who's the guy behind the mask? Who's the guy behind the mask? I'll say the gore is over the top and funny. It's almost every death has some comedic element to it. There is a death scene that's actually there's a scene that's actually from the original fake trailer for Thanksgiving that takes place on a trampoline. I don't want to tell you what happens. It involves a knife and a very sexy young girl on a trampoline. And Alan, you'll be interested in this. She takes off her panties while on this trampoline. It goes places I did not see. I'll say this. I've seen a bunch of the films that have opened this weekend in theaters. Thanksgiving is the best film that is playing in theaters that's actually opening new. So fun, super over the top, gory comedy. Eli Roth delivers. It's a little too long. That's the one flaw I would say is this movie. Give me a 90-minute version of this movie. It goes on, it overstays Thanksgiving, just like any real Thanksgiving, overstays its welcome a little bit. But that's probably the worst thing I can say about it. The other thing I could say is that a lot of the teen characters are kind of forgettable. And whatever, I didn't even care. I don't remember their names. I just, whatever. It's like, there's this guy, this girl who has this boyfriend, but then she broke up with this guy. It's all CW stuff. But the great thing is you don't need to get to know them very well because they end up getting murdered. And it's a lot of fun. And there are some things that are just dark that you do not see coming. So strong recommendation for this. I mean, as a horror film, horror comedy, I give it between a 7 and an 8. And I just had a great time. I saw it with a packed audience at AMC Burbank 16, packed, and everybody loved it. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like you're going, ah, and then you're laughing your ass off. So strongly recommend Thanksgiving. So
you're saying that bottomless trampoline girl doesn't have much of a character arc?
Yes, I don't want to say what happens. I'll just say not much of a character arc. Let's see. Do we have any comments about Thanksgiving? I'll say this. It exceeded my expectations. It exceeded my expectations as a film, and I had a really good time. Robert Paul Champagne says, Crunchy Bush? Maybe a different kind. I don't want to say out loud. Richard Thornton, I'm from Plymouth, Massachusetts. I wish it was actually shot in Plymouth because it looks nothing like the real Plymouth. Yeah, I almost felt like the name of the town was sort of a stand-in. But there you go, Richard. We'll go. I mean, you should go see it anyways. It is just over the top and ridiculous. I forget the name of what it's not Best Buy, but it's like something Mart. But they basically have their version of a Best Buy. It's not S Mart. That would have been funny.
Or H Mart.
But it's basically like a Best Buy type of store. and the owner of that store is kind of a villain in the town, you know? So I don't want to, but it has like those elements of Scream. It's a holiday movie. I don't know. I could see watching this on Thanksgiving if there are no kids around. It is not for kids. This is a hard R rated. So
it was Right Mart? Is that
Right Mart? That's what it is. Right Mart, but it's spelled REIT Mart. Right Mart. You can read into that what you will. Right Mart. Read into that. Fine. Whatever you want to say. Let's see. From Rumble, $8.24. Finally, Roth is leaning into his style to the point of humor, kind of like the original Cabin Fever. Yeah, this is his, to me, because I like the Hostel films, which was fine. The problem with the Hostel films, I'm going to agree with you. They were too dark. It was missing humor, and I think Eli Roth has a great sense of humor. So $8.24 goes on to say that is what his Hostel films were missing. They were too nihilistic in the end. I don't like the torture porn movies that were of that era. I really did not like. Hostel was probably the best of them, but it was missing humor. This has humor all over the place, and I really enjoyed it. So it's one of those movies like I would go see again with someone who hasn't seen it, so I could just watch them react to everything. That trampoline scene is just, it's great. The trampoline scene is amazing.
Now, the motivation of the killer, would the word colonizer be part of the motivation?
It's actually not. It's not like, there's not those elements that you would think would be a little bit, but not like push. Okay. Like not any more than you would see in real life. Like, there's always an annoying person trying to ruin the party. I just want to have turkey, mashed potatoes, and gravy. I just want to have all the fixins, and I want to watch football. And then I want to fall asleep in front of the TV. This is Thanksgiving. It's why we do it. Nicholas Vargo says, Thanksgiving was great. I was trying to guess the identity of the killer all the way to the end, and the reveal still shocks, even if you figure it out. Yeah, no, it was a great reveal. Obviously, we're not going to discuss it. No spoilers. But this movie is fun. It's, God, I hope it does well. And I actually hope they do like a Thanksgiving 2 Leftovers. You know what I mean? Like you could see this franchise continuing, but I can't, there's very few Thanksgiving themed horror films. There's Thanksgiving. Have you ever heard of Thanksgiving?
Yeah, actually, I think Jeremy was talking about it this morning on Geeks and Gaming.
Yeah, Thanksgiving is a killer turkey.
Like it was so bad it's good kind of movie.
It's awful. Like it's not good. And there are other Thanksgiving. We're going to talk about one next week on our Wednesday show. But yeah, Thanksgiving, Nicholas, I'm glad you got to take it for what it is. This is not trying to win Oscars, just trying to entertain you. And it does that. It's incredibly entertaining and gory. We're like, I'm looking away. There's, a lot of I'll say this. A lot of the kills and deaths are tied to Thanksgiving. That's all I'll say. And it's horrifying. Oh my God. Like everyone was like laughing and also like laughing and cringing at the same time. Like, which I loved. The trampoline gag was from the original Grindhouse trailer, says $8.24. Yeah, I mentioned that, like that he actually put it in there. So good.
Yeah, it's sad that this movie is being put up against the Marvels.
Yeah. I hope it does well. I really hope it does well. But we have a special guest that's joining us. So we're going to pivot and do an interview. We're going to continue doing reviews after this interview. So stick around. Don't go away. Let me pivot here. I'm going to pivot. How do we?
I got it. There you go.
Oh my.
Look.
Alan, thank you so much. I get the feeling sometimes that Alan is watching the show, waiting for me. I could use some help.
It's a compelling show. I'm sorry.
It is a compelling show. Are you gonna be hanging out with your daughter?
Hi, Dad. I miss you.
Well, there you go.
Well, the week after.
Yeah, cool. But we have a very special guest today. His film is Do Not Disturb. This is a film. Let me just say this. Do not watch the trailer for this movie. I did not watch the trailer, and I'm trying to figure out what this movie is. A young couple goes to a resort. They're kind of testing boundaries in their relationship. Are they going to be, are they going to step outside the couple relationship to kind of play with another couple? So they're testing the boundaries there, and they're becoming a little adventurous in the bedroom. They're doing drugs. When what happens next, I almost don't want to say, things take a dark turn. And I was completely shocked. An amazing soundtrack, tension filled. And it's all precipitated by a drug that is accidentally foisted upon this couple at this resort. I really love this movie, and I'm excited to have him join us on the show today. Writer director of Do Not Disturb, John Ainsle. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Ainsle, but
Ainsle. John Ainsle. John Ainsle, writer director. Thank you for joining us. Do Not Disturb. It's one of those like tight indie horror films. There's some aspects of comedy in it, but dude, blown away. You knocked it out of the park. Great job. Where the hell did this movie come from? Because you had me the first 20 minutes. I'm like, what is this movie even about? It's about this couple, and they're kind of swingers. They want to be swingers or try being swinger. They're like swinging. We're like, let's do this. I don't know. Is that going to ruin the relationship? Whatever. And then it takes a turn. Where did this all come from?
That's a good question.
In other words, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the original idea popped into my head seemingly out of nowhere while I was just sitting and someone was speaking, and I was in with a group of people, and I just wrote down the words honeymoon couple develops cannibal sex fetish. And that sort of just sat with me for a couple months until I wrote out this draft. I mean, I traveled through Mexico quite a bit, and I never did peyote there. But I read about it quite a bit. And then once you start talking and once you start getting on the subject, you get fed these sort of stories about, tourists. And to be clear, there are a lot of people who do peyote and ayahuasca with a shaman and with a therapist and do it properly and, protected. That is not what these people do, because that wouldn't make an interesting film. I mean, maybe it would, but not from my perspective. So yeah, for me, it was the idea of these people taking these kind of really powerful psychedelics. They keep taking way more than they should, and then they mix them with synthetic narcotics, and then combine that with the fact that their relationship is just a disaster anyway. So it just seemed like the perfect way to explore, relationships and how we treat each other. And the cannibalism sort of became a metaphor for how we eat each other alive emotionally in a bad relationship. So.
Oh I love that. How we eat each other alive in a relationship. But so did you shoot it on a resort? Were the locations real locations?
No, we did have that scenario planned at one point, and then COVID happened, and that production sort of just fell apart. And in the middle of COVID, we got an opportunity to shoot. I guess I shot 11 days in a small town called Sault Ste. Marie in northern Canada. There is a Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan as well. But yeah, it's like a small town in the middle of nowhere. And we had a comfort or quality, and I can't remember, that was very cooperative. We put up all the cast and crew in the hotel. We shot on the ground floor. They gave us this. It used to be a convention room that had been turned into a large hotel suite. And we dressed it. My wife and I went to, Walmart, bought lots of stuff and returned it. It wasn't covered in blood. We tried to return it. It's the indie spirit of filmmaking. And so, yeah, I was trying to capture, and then with my cinematographer, I was trying to capture the Miami light coming in through the windows, because it was, Sault Ste. Marie. Even the club scene is shot in up there in like a dive bar. It's like the weirdest dive bar. If you walked into that place, it's called Johnny Canucks. And if you walked in that place, it's about as far from Miami as you can possibly imagine. Wow. And then we came back. I live in Miami, so we came back to Miami and shot, I think 4 or 5 days, some with cast, some just me and my cinematographer driving around town, shooting what we could, getting the Miami flavor. And then I have a friend who is a drone photographer here who just gave me some, unused drone photography and said, use it for the film. It was great.
Well, we've got over 1,000 people watching us live right now.
Wow.
And we've got some chat comments and questions. Do you mind taking some questions from the chat?
That's what I'm here for.
Let's go. Let's see. John Harrison says psychedelics. Count me in. How can we watch this movie? Well,
currently it's in theaters in LA and New York. I think the New York theater is the Brooklyn Art House Theater or something. I asked for a list of what theaters, but if you're not in LA or New York, I don't think you can find it in a theater. But I think by the 21st, it should be available on Amazon, Apple TV, maybe Tubi, and then eventually it'll be everywhere.
Cool.
Yeah, so VODs, that kind of stuff.
So you're saying it's playing the draft houses? Am I getting that right?
It's playing at the draft
house. I don't think it's a Brooklyn Art House. Yeah, it's called. Gotcha. I think it's called the Brooklyn Art House Theater, but we're not in the schedule. But that's what I was told, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of that actually.
From Rumble, Aid Ellis 24 says, "Where did the inspiration to do a Saul Bass style poster for the film arise?" There you go.
That is. I have to credit this company called Dog and Pony. They do posters. They did my first feature, the Sublets poster as well, and I loved working with them. I wanted something that was sort of, unique. I mean, you could go with the usual trope thing, but I wanted something unique and that would stand out. And we had this picture of Kim, and I sort of had this cool thing with faces coming out of her, but it was photorealistic. And I gave it to them, and they came back with this and 4 other comps, but this one was, once I saw it, it was done. It was like, yeah, that's the poster. So it was great because it kind of has a cool modern feel, but it also has a classic Hitchcock vibe as well, which I think this film sort of, I don't know if it's Hitchcockian, but it sort of lives. If I had the budget to make it feel like the late 70s, I would have. But even with the film, like not film stock, but the grain within our image and the lenses we chose and the way we made it look, it does have a sort of a 70s kind of vibe to it. And especially with the 70s styles, the simplicity of the synth that is sort of reminiscent of those early synth scores that, like Whatever Happened to Be, what is it? Let's Scare Jessica to Death was a great influence on that score.
I'm a huge fan of movie posters. I've been collecting movie posters since I was a kid. I have movie posters that I saved from when I was a kid. And so movie posters, really important for me. When I did my film, Attack of the Doc, that poster was really important. Lots of little subtle details and Easter eggs. But I will say there's also, if you're a movie poster fan, and obviously you are, if you are Saul Bass inspired, there's a documentary called 24x36.
Yeah.
Just about movie posters and movie poster collecting. I love the whole thing of taking like a classic film and doing like a modern like poster for it. It's free on YouTube right now. Just look up 24x36. Great documentary about movie posters. If you're a movie poster fan, I'm saying this too. Yeah.
My first feature played some festivals with that feature.
Oh, you did? Oh, so okay, great.
Yeah. I lost some awards to that film.
Oh no. But it's a really good
doc. It's a great film.
A really great doc. Yeah. And as a movie poster fan, just love that. So also from Rumble, ADLS24S, is it not playing in Canada anywhere?
It's dropping in Canada only on VOD. And what that means in Canada, I'm not quite sure. But yeah.
Yeah. And
it's not playing in a theater because Canada doesn't have, I don't think Canada has enough theaters to really support small movies.
Right. Solomon Thornton asks, "Greetings, Sir John. Saw the poster on IMDb. Cool poster. Any advice for beginning filmmakers?"
Get a real estate license.
Oh no.
No, if you can't be born rich, that would be my second piece of advice. Be born rich with supportive parents would be the best advice if you're an aspiring filmmaker, I think. But no, I mean, I just, it's funny because people say like, how did you get, I think I've had 4 scripts produced now and 2 of them I've directed, but how I get my next one done, I still have no clue. I know how to make movies. I have very little understanding of how movies get made. And every time it's different. And I guess the only advice is 2 things. Don't stop trying because you haven't failed until you quit. and enjoy the process. No matter like how miserable some days are, they're better than any other day off a film set. So and all you're really, the only enjoyment that you're guaranteed is the enjoyment of working on a set with the actors and the crew and making things happen. And that great feeling when you wake up at like 6 a.m. and you know that by the end of the day, something will be accomplished. And that's, it's a unique thing in life that we can do that. And, there's a finite sort of 15 days, 16, whatever it is, that once you get there, you're going to have footage, you're going to be able to edit, and you're going to have a movie.
Another 8Ellis24 has, I think, been Googling you, but says you're
Amazing.
surrounded by instruments. Did you do your own score a la John Carpenter? And what films inspired the score?
I did do my own score, but it was never the plan. I usually work with a composer. He was booked on like half a dozen shows at the time, and my schedule to deliver just didn't allow me to wait for him. And so while we were looking for another composer, I started fooling around in GarageBand. And because I thought no one would ever hear it, I went big and I went bold, because I thought it would be me and my editor, and just to give the whoever we hired as a composer an idea of what we wanted. But then it started working. And then I started doubting myself, because I was like, am I just being an asshole? And my ego is taking over. And so I was like, I gave some people some comparisons, and they all, without telling them I'd done the score, they all liked it. So I was like, okay, I'm not alone here. But yeah, that was really interesting, because I play guitar moderately well, moderately poorly. I don't know. I'm not a good guitarist, but I've been playing for 25 years. So you get acceptably good at that point, just from having played for so long. And I've always been around music my whole life. So it was, I have a basic understanding of music, but it was just a matter of learning how synths work, and learning how I started in GarageBand, and then I carried it over into Logic. So yeah, that was fun. And I'd love to score I've scored a short since then. And I'd love to score other people's movies just as a vibe.
Another question here from the nerd far away, who's a member, says, greetings, Mr. Ainsle. Do you think there is an underlying theme for most horror stories? And what would be the underlying theme for Do Not Disturb?
Underlying theme? I don't know. I think the people who make horror movies, and similar to people who watch horror movies, did I lose my internet?
Yeah, you're a little choppy, but that's okay. Can you repeat
Sorry. Yeah. I would think, let me just make sure. Oh, we're good. Anyway, I think the people who make horror movies are the same that the fans who like horror movies were a bit of outsiders. We're not mainstream. And so if that was, I think all good horror movies are all at least indie horror movies, and a lot of mainstream, some, I don't know. I don't watch a lot of mainstream horror, but I think we all come from a place being an outsider and being different and being interested in different things. For Do Not Disturb, I think the underlying theme is what we do to ourselves in bad relationships, and that sort of vibe of like when you're with the wrong person, but you don't know how to leave, and you want to stay out of comfort from the comfort for what you're used to, rather than the adventure of finding someone else or fear of losing what you have. That usually puts you in a bad psychological space. So yeah, that was always it for me. That film was the spine. That relationship was the spine of the story for me the entire way through.
8Ellis24 is another question. How do you maintain your motivation to get the film made after writing the script over a decade ago?
I wouldn't know how to not maintain the motivation.
Well, before you came on the stream, we were talking about Thanksgiving, which is Eli Roth's movie. He did the fake trailer, which was in Grindhouse 16 years ago. The movie's just out now. So filmmaking is a matter of like just not quitting. If you ask me, you just don't quit.
It's funny because I'll talk to people I haven't talked to since like high school, and they'll be like, "Oh, you stayed with it. You that's really good.
Right.
You stayed." I'm like, I don't know what. Like, if I could quit and get a real job and have a real life with money, I would totally do it. I just don't know how. I don't know how to quit this affliction of film. And then you get to an age where it's the only thing you know, and you're stuck. So you got to commit. So the motivation's easy. It wasn't the only script I was pitching. So, you're always working on different projects. And I think you're working in the background on that. But Do Not Disturb was a unique one because it was hard to get made, and it was hard to get made in the right scenario. where I had producers who would back me in this to keep it weird. I always thought that if you did it at a certain level with name actors, and then you get the pressure of the system kind of sanitizing it a little bit, it's not the type of film that would work that way. Oh, well, the way it works anyway. It could work in a different way, but I know there was a lot of push to cast younger, to, sex it up, to really go into the gore, focus less on the relationship that I think is the core to making the gore more effective, because the deeper you know these people, the more you care when they start becoming damaged. So.
And let's see, a final question here. Akanika asks, what's the filmmaking community like in Miami?
Miami's awesome. I'm still kind of new to Miami in a weird way, because I moved here and my son was born. So I didn't really socialize with anyone for the first year or so, because I was just home taking care of this newborn. And then COVID hit and everything sort of shut down. So it's like, it was kind of interesting in a way. But the film community in Miami is great. I'm originally from Toronto, where there's a lot of Hollywood movies shot, and there's a big system, and everyone's sort of like just grumpy and fed up and tired. And the cool thing about Miami is everyone's kind of young, and even the older people, which I think I am now, it's just this kind of like, we know we're small. We know that we're not part of like Hollywood or New York or Atlanta, and we don't have that system, but it's like really fun group of people who are always willing to help each other out and like really supportive of each other. You have screenings, people show up, people reach out to help. I don't know. It's because it's a small community, and it centers around, there's a few places it centers around, but there's like these great communities. Filmgate was one that helped us. Dilliana heads Filmgate downtown Miami, and she's been really supportive of my work, but as well to this film. She was a co-producer on the film and helped get us our permits, and even like the people, like in Toronto, if you're filming, you pretty much get like hatred from everyone because there's a film set on every corner stopping traffic, and traffic pretty bad enough. Whereas Miami's got traffic issues as well. But we were shooting that airplane shot, and we didn't want a car driving by, but we don't have permits. It's just me and Scott, and you get what you get. And this truck, who is just random delivery dude, blocked traffic so we could get our shot, didn't talk to us, just gave us a thumbs up when we were done, and drove away. And no one honked the horns. No one seemed to care. Everyone just waved at us, and they were just happy that we had a camera and we were shooting. So yeah, it's fun. And the arm on the beach was a fun experience too, because everyone came over, and nowadays everyone's got a GoPro with them, and they were shooting themselves, and it was hard to shoot on the beach because we attracted so much attention. And
you might not want to give that away. That might be considered a spoiler. Some of the gore,
I don't think this movie, it's funny because even with or without spoilers, I don't think this movie relies on surprise necessarily. Like it's not a traditional plot in any sense, because you kind of know what the bigger plot, how it's going to turn, or you have an idea anyways. But moment to moment, I think once you're halfway through, you really, something's going to happen, but you can't imagine what it's going to be. So I'm not too worried about it necessarily about this film for that. And it's fun. I think even if it's been spoiled, it's I think because of the wackiness and the absurdity of it, it still kind of works.
Well, thank you for being on the show today. Your film Do Not Disturb is in limited release in theaters, coming to VOD next week. So if you're in Canada, check it out on VOD, or check it out on VOD next week. John, you did a great job directing this film. Really also complete shock to me. So I'm glad I didn't watch the trailer, because I had no idea what the movie was about. I just knew, this guy John's coming on the show on Friday. All right, I should watch his movie. And then wow. So really enjoyed it. So thanks again. You shocked me.
Awesome, man. That's the point.
Awesome. All right. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Later.
Bye.
Bye. That was awesome. Alan, you're very big.
That's what she said.
All right, let's see if we have any more comments, questions here. We're going to wrap it up with a couple more reviews. Do we have time for some more reviews? Let's do at least one more review.
Yeah.
Alan, you have a film you want to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a movie
Wait,
that
wait,
actually...
don't start yet.
yeah.
Wait, we're gonna pivot. We need a video while we pivot. So let's just watch this. Let's just watch this.
So cool up here in the balcony.
Totally. Hey, what's this about this movie being in another language?
Yeah, you have to read what they're saying.
Sounds pretty weird. I'm gonna go get some popcorn. Excuse me, sorry. You are precious.
Subtitles. They're not just un-American, they kill.
We haven't watched that. We haven't watched that video in a long
I
time.
love that URL still works.
Yeah, filmthreat.com. That was a little promo. It was done by a company in San Francisco. I can't take any credit for it. They're just like, we made this for a chain of theaters and they don't want to use it. So they're like 3 of them. It's a series of 3 videos. It's like when we first started the Film Threat YouTube channel. Like I'm talking about like a long time ago.
Yeah.
We didn't know what we were doing. No one knew what YouTube was. So, all right, Alan, tell us about Common Ground.
Common Ground, yeah. Hey, so this is an environmental documentary, and it's very different than any other environmental documentary. And its basic premise is this: there's climate change going on caused by an abundance of carbon floating in the air, creating the greenhouse effect, destroying the planet. Blah blah blah. But most environmental documentaries are essentially gloom and doom, basically saying the world is coming to an end. There's nothing you can do about it. Go. Let's tear down the economy. This film, on the other hand, actually proposes a solution, and it makes the bold step that they could actually bring the entire planet to carbon neutral through this solution. The documentary is narrated by Jason Momoa, Laura Dern, Donald Glover, Woody Harrelson, and Rosario Dawson. There we go. So here, let's. This is the solution that this movie proposes. The way you get rid of all the carbon that's in the air is you plant trees and build crops. Because weirdly, they've discovered, this is brand new information. No one's ever heard of this.
Okay.
They found that plants and trees extract the carbon dioxide from the air, releases the oxygen, and then takes the carbon and puts it into the ground. And this carbon actually enriches the soil of the ground so that when you do build crops, you don't need to use chemical fertilizers or chemical pesticides. And so this entire movie is based on this idea that the earth somehow has a way of healing itself, and that you can solve the environmental problems, bring the world to carbon neutral by increasing trees and plants and farms. And I know, groundbreaking.
This is a crazy concept.
I know.
I can't. This is insane. Yeah. I cannot believe it.
And so what they the big thing is that they look the problem with what's going on today is it's basically corporate agriculture. It's the idea that all these farms across America, they're being subsidized by the government. They're being given GMO seeds and Roundup pesticides and told to grow corn and soy, and we'll give you money for it. And what's happening is the techniques they're using, the tilling techniques, is actually stripping the earth of its soil and turning it into dirt, into a dust land. And if you just allow plants to grow on your land, you allow these plants to grow, die, refertilize the ground, it will actually make more abundant crops, healthier food, and not only cure the climate change, but it will feed the world, and it will make a lot of money for these farmers. Again, groundbreaking research going on here.
This
And
is a radical documentary. I cannot believe that
and people, I'll tell you that I believe the climate change community is gonna tear this documentary down because of its unfounded research. And
well, I mean, we've seen, the thing is this. Here's where we're at. There is a lot of alarmism with a lot of, because I've seen these documentaries for years. Okay, they used to do documentaries on weed. Now weed is legal. The reason these documentaries are being made, they all come with an agenda. And it used to be that a documentary filmmaker would approach a topic, not know anything, and then go where the story leads.
Research it.
Now, almost every doc we see now is politically on one side of the aisle or the other. I think both are guilty. And they're funded by organizations saying, here's the thing we want the doc to say. Now go make the movie. Now, look at a film like An Inconvenient Truth. Okay. That movie came out a long time ago, right? And a lot of the predictions haven't come true. In fact, what's her name? The young woman who is how dare you?
Oh, Greta Thunberg.
Greta Thunberg is now deleting Instagram posts where she said that in 2023, things would go. She said this years ago. Okay. And the thing is this, okay. My politics have always been kind of middle of the road, but I really feel you're trying to manipulate me with this nonsense. I just want the truth. I am like most people. I believe most people, when push comes to shove, just want common sense and the truth, and not some sort of agenda that's being pushed by some corporation to say we should be doing this. Because as we know, corporations kill creativity. And corporations, the sort of factory filmmaking doesn't result in better movies. Factory farming doesn't result in better food. It's almost like the most simple answer is the answer. Like an independent film that's led by a creative visionary or a group of creative people, and it's not as if someone like, say, a Chris Nolan can't work in Hollywood to kind of make the movie he wants to make. So you can work within the system to get things done. I'm just tired of being lied to.
Yeah.
What would be interesting is for someone to re-review An Inconvenient Truth to show where we are. So I just want the truth. I don't want to be lied to. I just want, tell us let's work toward a solution instead of doom and gloom that is depressing, that is having a psychological effect, rates of depression like we've never seen in a generation of young people that feel like they have no future. This is wrong. I believe it's evil. That we are where we've reached this place in civilization. I'm an optimist, and I'm filled with optimism. We can solve every problem in front of us, but we're not going to solve it if we're fighting about BS. So that should have been a Gore Rant, but I'm just saying, the more common sense solution is usually the key. Like when it comes to a medical issue, when it comes to just a lot of things, right? Like,
I mean, this hits both sides. I mean,
does it? That's
blame
good.
is placed on the government, who is being funded. Campaigns are being funded by big agriculture. We'll call it that.
Right.
And corporations want to control the food supply, and in the process, people are getting food that's killing them. And we're destroying the land. And this movie is all about restoring the land that has been destroyed. I'll refer you to two other films. Biggest Little Farm, which I believe is still on Hulu. The idea there is when you start a farm, you grow everything and you raise every single animal, and you will create a ecosystem that is self-sustaining and food that is healthy without the use of pesticides, or guns to kill pests, things like that. The other one is Fat Fiction, which is narrated by Nick Offerman.
Yes.
It not only looks at why meat is so important, but how cows and cattle actually heal the land as well by stomping on hard ground and pooping. And the solutions are there. And again, let's not belittle the point, but this documentary is saying that we can solve the climate change carbon problem, bring the planet to carbon neutral, and it's by simply proper farming techniques and growing trees.
So you're saying when I was 2 years old, I was effectively a cow. I was stomping and pooping.
Yes, stomping and pooping. Yeah, but did you smother your poop into your carpet?
I did not. So
See,
I guess I'm not
you're
a
only
cow.
doing part of the. You're only doing part of the solution. You got to go full in.
Got to go full cow. All right. Hey, we have some comments. We have a lot of comments here from people. So let's go into it. And
by the way, this document gets into the dangers of fake meat.
I've tried the fake meat. I'll be honest. I've tried the fake meat. I tried like I had a Whopper with fake meat. It tastes like meat, but every person, I have a friend who's very much into health and healthy eating. She said the fake meat is bad for you. That the stuff that they make it out of is terrible.
It's food grown in a lab.
Yeah, it's not.
That should scare you right there.
Yeah. Let's go to your comments about Common Ground. Bobby's World, who's a member, says Common Ground uses insanely common sense to solve a problem. The Introspect M, who's a member, says chemical company lobby is not talked about enough. They made it a law to force all your mattresses to get soaked in poisonous chemicals that with the made up claim that it's not safe without fire retardant. Oh, wow. The Nerd Far Away says, I'm only going to throw this unpopular opinion out here. Climate change is normal and it's not apocalyptic. Bingo. I have always thought of it that way. Climate change, it's almost like we have seasons, right? So we have seasons every year based on our proximity to the sun, our orbital trajectory. We have spring, summer, winter, fall, also based on where we are on the planet. We have various degrees of those seasons. I believe that planets, if we tracked weather, planets have seasons.
Yeah. By the way,
that we don't live on a long enough of a timeline to recognize that. But I believe climate change is normal. You and I, Nerd Far Away, it's not this thing that's going to be world ending, but it's a thing that politicians, lobbyists, and big business can use to manipulate the masses and get them. But what I have seen is it has taken a generation of kids and made them depressed and left them without purpose. And it sickens me.
So they have purpose. They go to museums and throw paint on paintings.
Yeah, that's their purpose. Or to sit in front of roads and block them.
Yeah. I lived in Southern California my entire life, over 50 years. We have droughts, and then we have record rains, and then we have droughts, and then we have record rains, and then we have droughts, and then we have record rains. And to say that this is climate change is insane. How many times have been told that Santa Monica was going to drop into the ocean in 10 years? It's still there, and the beach is still the way it was. It's this fear mongering, and that's why something simple like this documentary is just going to fall on deaf ears, because there's too much power and money in this whole environmental movement, and that's the shame.
Right?
Because you can literally heal the land with techniques that have been used for centuries, since the beginning of time, for that matter.
Let's keep going. Great comments from people here. I'm going to get to as many as we can. Romina Jones says regenerative agriculture is a real thing. Mm-hmm. There are lots of mainstream farms that use it. You can look up farming podcasts on it.
Yeah, in fact, one of the big things one of the big encouragements was that the filmmakers and the supporters, they want farmers to get off of government subsidies and start farming the right way. And they've shown that these farmers will make more money than they did doing these government subsidies.
Interesting. The Introspect M, none of the alarms of the last 50 years have come true, but people still believe in the environmental lies. I have, and I'll bring it out. I have an issue of Newsweek magazine from like 1969 that has an article about how we're destroying everything. I believe that it's almost arrogant of man to think that we are so powerful that we could destroy a planet by existing on it. That is crazy talk. And I've just seen it. It's like, since I was a kid, it's like pollution. Look, I think littering is bad. Pollution. Can we cut down on that? Yes. Let's cut down on all of that.
Stop throwing away straws in the ocean. Throw it in your trash can.
Right. Why are we pumping this stuff into the ocean too, by the way? Why are we doing that?
Yeah, that's the other thing.
That's a whole other thing. But yeah, no, it's crazy, especially if you look up. Someone should do a documentary looking up all the old political propaganda of alarmism. Someone should make a documentary about that and just show pieces of inconvenient truth and how it's all BS. I'll bet I could get some company to
I mean, like wildfires. You know, they talk about the devastating wildfires in Northern California. We just down the road from my house, there was a devastating wildfire that almost destroyed one of our toll roads here. And it burned a lot of land. And what this documentary basically says is sometimes wildfires are a great way to reset the land. And lo and behold, a year later after the wildfire, our mountainside was covered with golden poppies. We had butterflies migrating through our freeway. Cars were killing these butterflies. But I've never seen that pass so beautiful and so gorgeous in my life. Wow. And maybe fires have a purpose in the big picture.
Aaron Taylor, climate alarmism, perpetual fear for political purposes. And Lori Ormond on that note, hey Lori, as long as they keep us scared, they win. Patrick Lemire, I follow a lot of farmers on Facebook. People know very little about it. 95% of farms are family owned. The factory farm thing is highly exaggerated. Farmers, most efficient people, we should be in awe. My dad grew up on a farm. He would tell me stories about it. And my grandparents used to garden. They would have raspberries and apples, and we would go picking fruit. So it's really interesting. So I'm a little kid, and we get like 25 cents, my sister and I, and we go to these farms that they would give you, they'd weigh your basket. So they would put a little piece of paper in your basket, say your basket weighs this or whatever, or we'd bring in boxes. Then they would weigh it on the way out. They deduct the weight of the packaging, and you just pay for, like, we would get so much fresh fruit. My grandmother had a pantry. She'd make fresh strawberry jam. Everything was fresh. She used to mock going to restaurants. Like, I can make better food than this. This was my grandmother. So yeah, I learned a lot from I don't live anywhere where I actually have enough land to actually farm, but I should.
Yeah. My mom grew up on a farm, but then the Japanese burned it down.
Well, there you go. There's a bigger story there.
Yeah.
Bob Smith, current climate alarmists are yesterday's Christian doomsday cults.
So I'm saying, watch this documentary. It's just common sense. And yes, it is narrated by Jason Momoa and Rosario Dawson. But truth is truth.
Just a couple more comments here, and then we're going to do one quick hit review to end the stream. Raylo Normie says, remember acid rain? That was our boogeyman in school. I thought it was going to melt when I was a kid. F these politicians.
Yeah, remember the ozone?
Remember the ozone layer is going to go away. We have been filled. This is how they control the masses, is through fear. That's it. That's why the book Dune, fear is the mind killer. That mantra is so, the litany of fear. Look up the litany of fear. Reading that, like, that changed my life when I was 14. When I was 14 years old and first read Dune and read that litany of fear, I have it in my head, and I have it, like, I'll put it up places. I love the litany of fear, and just keeping that in mind, because it's like a protective shield against all the idiocracy that we're forced to deal with by, a lot of this nonsense. Kent and Sarah says, my dad spent 40 years with the USDA lead agronomist for the state of Idaho and confirmed everything stated here. That is great to know.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, there's a whole section about how the agriculture industry started going after people, especially those who were saying that Roundup pesticides was causing cancer. And they would get these experts fired from the universities they were working at.
Wow.
They would dox them. I mean, look, these are tactics that have been going on for decades. And now the average American, you and I, are going through the same crap.
Well, I think a lot of people from the last couple years of what's happened, the last 3 years, A lot of people have awakened. They have awakened with an awareness of things. Oh, I didn't really notice this stuff going on. Kind of weird. Now I'm more, I feel more informed, or maybe, yeah. And Glenuccio, our intrepid, hardworking producer, Glenuccio is here. Says, "Old Chris Gore at a farm. Ingay. That's so bad. I love that joke. I love that joke. Thank you, Glenn. All right, we're gonna pivot real quick. I'm just gonna do a very quick review of a film that kind of ties in to what we've been talking about today. Let's get to the banner. And let's talk about The Killer with of course, an actor that was in the film Next Goal Wins. Michael Fassbender is the killer in the film called The Killer, currently on Netflix. It had a limited theatrical release. This is directed by David Fincher, and it is pure David Fincher in terms of the way that the story is told, in terms of the gore and shock. It's also a very quiet film and somber. There's not, for much of the film, and there's not a lot of dialogue, but we live in the head of the killer. I'm not even sure if we ever find out his name. We never actually find out Michael Fassbender's character's name. He's just referred to as the killer on IMDb. I don't think it really matters. What I do love about the film, I'm not a huge fan of voiceover or like narration in a movie, but it completely works in here because he's going through his psychological, like why he does what he does, how boring the job is. You see the first like 15, 20 minutes of the movie is him like setting up to do one kill, and he's just bored. He's got to get ready for just that one moment when he has the right shot, and he's getting ready for it. And it's just like incredibly mundane, boring. He's got to get ready to, he has a contract. He has to take care of one guy, and he's going to have like a very brief moment to be able to take this person out. He's at a building that's across the street from the hotel where this person is going to be, and botches it. It's botched, which leads to him on a journey, tracking down the people that may be responsible for this. I really enjoyed it. Tilda Swinton has a part. It's one scene, and she's fantastic in it. That scene is dark, and it's him just tracking down all the people within this organization that hired him to get to the truth. And I thought it was very well done. Look, it's also based, I didn't realize this, it's actually based on a graphic novel, which is interesting. And so it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, and I hate to put it this way, a lot of things on Netflix are good. They're good. Not great, just good. This is kind of in that category. I think I would have preferred to see this film in a theater, but I did enjoy it. I also enjoy the fact that almost everything I'll kind of click on Netflix is a series. I don't want to watch a series. I want to watch a movie, get me in, get me out. But I actually enjoyed it. Probably give it a 6 or a 7 out of 10, which is a recommend. And at least like, I just like that Fincher, he'll push boundaries and say something interesting, not necessarily new, but interesting. And Michael Fassbender, that guy is, I mean, he has a bod built like they're just showing him he's doing these exercises and stretches to keep his body together. And it's pretty impressive. It's not digital effects. He's just stretching his body. And then there's a close-up fight in a house that involves a dog that is brutal, just brutal, where he's sort of improvising, looking for anything he can grab. I'm watching this going, oh my God, how did they film this? It's like close quarters fight where he's just trying to take out a guy with a knife. Really amazing. The Tilda Swinton scene is fantastic too. So recommend it. I recommend it. It's a 6.9 on IMDb. So that's about where I land on the film.
So you were not enamored by the movie?
I'm not as enamored as maybe some other people are, but I enjoyed it. Like, I didn't feel like I wasted my time. I wish I had seen the movie in a theater. I probably would have enjoyed it more. You know, I would have enjoyed it more rather than watching it on Netflix. And there you go. So that is The Killer. A mild recommendation from me. Let's go to your comments and questions. Here's Brock Samsonite, who's a member, says Monsanto would hire local planes to crop dust their products next to organic farms and force their seed to take over the organic farm by corrupting their seed stock.
Yeah, there's a whole movie. There's a movie about that.
That's so evil. It's like a corporation would do that.
Well, the movie starred Christopher Walken, and their seeds went onto his property, and he collected those seeds, not knowing it was copyrighted or owned. And he got sued by the company for using their seeds without paying for it.
Let's see. Super chat here from Spidey Sensei 72 for 5 says, watch The Killer twice. The second time, view from the perspective of an unreliable narrator. Totally different film. Yes. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I probably will watch it again. Maybe I liked it a little more than I thought, but I just like I like that it's quiet and it's in the head of the killer. That's what I really enjoyed most about it. Phaser Wrist. Hey, I mentioned Film Threat in my interview with Heath Robinson during his table talk last night. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Sean Hu says, whenever I hear The Killer, I think of the 1989 movie by John Woo with Chow Yun-fat. Yeah, I always think of that movie.
Was that the one with
Love John Woo and Chow Yun-fat.
Was that the one with Mira Sorvino? Or
I think so. But all I know is my friend Ron Wells had a tattoo of Chow Yun-fat on him. And yeah. Wes Ray says, I was pretty underwhelmed by The Killer. Didn't hate it, but it was just kind of there for me. Thoroughly middle of the road for a Fincher movie. Yeah, I kind of expected more. I think that's part of the problem is when you're David Fincher, people expect you to make like a Fight Club out of the gate every time, and it's not going to be that way.
You want him to always be topping himself.
Right, and it's like, that's not possible. That's
the one I was talking about.
Triple Threat 305 says, I really enjoyed The Killer. It was paced perfectly. There you go. And director Mink. Hey, Mink. Hard to imagine a world with David Fincher limited release. It's streaming, and streaming to me, I was just talking about this with my friend Ramesh. He thinks that streaming is like direct to DVD. Do you remember direct to VHS? When movies would bypass theaters and go direct, there's something about a movie that goes that pathway of release that makes it less than, right? It's less than, like,
yeah, stigma attached to it.
At least Netflix is trying to release movies bigger theatrical. They did it with Killers of the Flower Moon, among others. That's fine. But yeah, it was limited release through Netflix. It is what it is. But thank you, Mink. Always good to chat with you. And that's going to wrap it up for us today. Want to remind you also, Award This is coming up December 10th. I want to remind you of a couple of things, actually. Let's talk about it. LA Comicon is coming up. I will be at LA Comicon. All right.
I will be at LA Comicon.
And also Alan will be at LA Comicon.
And Miss P Coffee will be at LA Comicon.
Ms. P Coffee might be at LA Comicon. We don't know yet. We don't know.
Oh yeah, that's right. We don't know.
We don't know. Just
you need to go to find out.
Go to comiconla.com is the website. Tickets available. We're doing 3 panels. Saturday, December 2nd, The Death of the Modern Franchise, and then Indie Filmmaker Survival Guide, plus why 99% of movies today are garbage. Who's going to be on the panel? We got an all-star lineup. X-Ray Girl, Anna, that Star Wars girl, Gary Beekler from Nerdrotic, Dante James from Verbal Riot Show, Paulie from Latino Slant, Alan Ing the Merciless from Film Threat, plus myself, other people as well. Cara Lynn, I think, is going to be on one of the panels. It's, you know what it is? It's diversity. All of the panels are very diverse. So go to comiconla.com and check that out. Also, we have Award This. Award This tickets are now on sale. Check it out. Alan will be there. I'll be there. It's the only award show you can buy a ticket to. And here you go.
Oh, hey. Oscars, huh? Oscars can suck it! I don't even have a penis. Watch Award This at awardthis.com.
December 10th at 8 p.m. is the show. Get there early for our cocktail party at 6 p.m. We'll have a red carpet, cocktails sponsored by Neft Vodka. So if you like vodka, we'll have Neft. We also have Liquid Death for those of you that like water. Alan will be drinking Liquid Death. So there you go. So join us at Award This. You can go to awardthis.com. Also, use the offer code FilmThreat20 to save 20% on tickets. I would like you to save money on those tickets. So I like to save money on tickets. Alan,
I will always, if given the opportunity, I will always save money if at all possible. So what you want to say?
Chris, I know we're going to sell out. Like I'm looking at like the numbers and stuff, like we will sell out, but we do have cheap seats. You can get seats for like $16 and you can save money with the offer code. So they're cheap. It's like going to the movies. So there's gift bags, booze. It's just like going to an award show. We're kind of recreating that experience. And then don't forget, if you go to shop.filmthreat.com, use the offer code FilmThreat-HO to get 10% off now through, I believe it's December 8th. And one last thing, wait. Oh, we had a couple comments come in. Thank you to our mods today, Lord Thoth and Latino Slant. And we had another super chat come in here. Bobby's World for 5. Another great show, guys. I'm here wishing you all a great weekend. Not just Chris and Alan, but the incredible mods and the amazing chat. Well, if you're a member, join us on Discord. I check it at least once a week. And Bad Gamergate said, is there really a Chris Gore Funko? No, there isn't. I just had that made. I got it made on Fiverr. You go to fiverr.com. It's 2 R's. Fiverr.com. You can get a little graphic of you as a Funko. We should get one with you, Alan.
Yeah, well, we could actually make Funkos of us.
Let's go. Alan and I will go to the Funko store. I believe it's in Hollywood. Yes. We can have Funkos made of us. We'll do a video about it. How about that? And last one, Bushin Ryu Cat says, last one, have you ever interviewed James Rolfe? I have not. We've interviewed quite a few people actually on not just Film Threat, the YouTube channel, but Film Threat, the website, and Film Threat, the magazine. So I don't know, been doing interviews since the 80s. So talk to a lot of people. There you go. And Thanatophoric just sends in 5 and says, love the show. Thank you, Thanatophoric. Am I saying that right? Give me a, next time, you don't need to super chat. Just give me the phonetic. I want to get it right. I don't like mispronouncing people's names. I remember when I met you, like, how do I say your name? Do you remember when I met you? And it's like, how do I say?
Yeah. I don't remember that conversation. I think I just told
Ing.
you.
I was just like, as soon as you Ing.
I just told you how it's pronounced.
I don't want to look. I like to be, look, I like.
It sounds like you're looking for a more interesting story. That's what I'm saying.
That is not an interesting story. That is not an interesting story, but so that wraps it up for us today. But I also want to thank Glenn, our producer, and Ms. P Coffee, working hard behind the scenes in many ways you're not even aware of. Many ways you're not. She's working on secret projects that are loads of fun. So she deserves a lot of credit. So Alan, anything? What do you got coming up this weekend?
Yes, I will be at San Diego at the National Comedy Theater at 7:30 tomorrow, and I'm going to be all over the West Side on Sunday, seeing 3 movies.
Nice. And can you find the link to get tickets on your link tree?
I could try to do that. Yeah.
Alan, I keep trying to tell Alan, make a link tree.
Yeah.
Because I have so many. Look, I'll show you my link tree. I want to show you because it's the end of the show. People are who cares. I'm going to show you my link tree.
It's the most beautiful link tree ever.
It's look, it's an impressive link tree.
It's an impressive link tree.
I have the greatest link tree you've ever seen. It's all the
It's
links.
huge.
All
It's huge. Bigly.
huge. There's my link tree. So you've got, look, it's a link to our YouTube channel, link to Comicon, link to get tickets for Award This, it links to the Award This link tree. There's actually an Award This link tree. Then there's a Film Threat link tree.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have a link tree? Alan Ing.
By the way, can you pull up the analytics on your link tree? And
there's an Attack of the Doc link tree with all the links. Alan, come on, man.
I'm trying. I made one. I mean, I can update.
Did you make a link tree? And Alan,
I made a.
You should name your link tree Ing the Merciless. Do it.
I gotta stick with the one. It's gonna be My Pal Al. If I
My Pal, because you're different on all your different platforms. It's My Pal Al. It's Film Threat Alan. Yeah, it's different. But that wraps it up for us today. Thank you for watching. We had over 1,000. We had like 1,300 people watching us live. The show continues to grow because of you. We appreciate you. And thank you so much. We will be back next Wednesday. We're doing a show on Wednesday. Oh, we're doing it. There's a couple movies we didn't get to. We will get to them next week. Got news stories. And I have next week, because it's right before the holidays, we have one of the most personal shows that we'll ever do. Alan and I are going to share something about the two of us that is probably going to shock some of you. Do not miss next Wednesday's show. It's going to be huge. Something never done in the history of live streaming is going to happen.
You deleted that video.
Okay. It's something we talked about weeks ago. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe Ms. Peacock and I showed you guys something. And you're like, that's awful. You shouldn't share that. And now we're doing it next Wednesday.
Okay.
We're 100% doing it. I see Ms. Peacock nodding yes. So that's a good sign. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend. See you next Wednesday.
Let's get out of here.